from last night's concert bombing in Britain is no less painful today.
Families, young children went out last night to enjoy themselves in our wonderful city and tragically lost their lives in a horrific way.
Chief Constable Ian Hopkins won't say much yet about the suicide bomber who has been identified. Fox's Simon Owen is live in Manchester.
Lisa, police here naming the bomber as Salman Abedi, aged 22. It's being reported that he was British and grew up right here in Manchester, but he's believed to be the person who blew himself up as thousands of children were leaving a concert by the American singer Ariana Grande. 22 people were killed. A vigil has been taking place here in Manchester this evening. Thousands of people filling a square and surrounding streets cheering as local leaders spoke about unity and defying terrorists.
Thanks, Simon. Other countries, including the U.S., further tightening security for events, though the Manchester bombing happened outside the arena. Former CIA chief John Brennan telling a Senate panel his concerns about Trump campaign contacts with Russia were the basis for the FBI probe of possible collusion.
I was worried by a number of the contacts that the Russians had with U.S. persons.
But he says the CIA's job is intelligence, not evidence, and he doesn't know if there was any collusion. A White House statement says despite a year of investigation, there's still no evidence of collusion. President Trump now in Italy for a meeting tomorrow with the Pope and later the G7 summit.
Planet, not profit.
Protesters chanting planet, not profit. On Wall Street, the Dow up 44 points at the closing bell to 20,939. The S&P and the NASDAQ edging higher. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security. An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
Here's a little ditty about that John Deere mower deck that mows faster, better. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. If you just mow fast but your yard looks bad, then you got a lot of ugly grass. You need a John Deere to take care of your yard. You need a Z-Track Z3 45R. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. The XL deck's got more capacity for yards like yours that get to grassity. Want to mow well in a higher gear? See a John Deere dealer, nothing runs like a deer.
Now have a neighbor under arrest in the Ohio fire that killed a family of 7 last week. The youngest victim just 1 year old. But they still haven't talked about any motive. The suspect, 58-year-old Stanley Ford, is charged with aggravated arson and 7 counts of aggravated murder. 3 people found dead in a Michigan home, including a child.
It's apparently a double murder-suicide. The bodies of a 54-year-old man, a 49-year-old woman, and her 10-year-old grandson were found dead in the living room by the boy's mother. Harold Garcia is a relative.
It's just terrible. It's terrible. Something you don't have that doesn't happen to you, it just happens to someone else.
Neighbors at the Marsh Creek Village apartment complex in Woodhaven, Michigan, outside Detroit, had called police, reporting an argument and then gunshots. The man and woman were an on and off couple for about 10 years, according to family members. It's believed he was the shooter. Chris Foster, Fox News.
The Justice Department filing a federal civil lawsuit against Fiat Chrysler over allegations of emissions cheating, which the automaker has denied. But regulators accuse Fiat Chrysler of using software or so-called defeat devices to allow excess emissions in more than 100,000 diesel vehicles. One historic city in Utah may tell chain stores they're no longer welcome.
Up and down Main Street in Park City, Utah, quaint little storefronts are increasingly sharing space with larger chain stores.
I think bringing in a lot of the chains kind of ruins a lot of kind of just the community and small town feel.
Carrie Broderick manages a downtown coffee shop.
The historic district is the key component to having economic diversity and vibrancy on Main Street.
Bruce Erickson is Park City Planning Director. He's one of several officials considering a cap or an outright ban on chain stores. As for the 18 existing chains, they'd be allowed to stay.
Fox's Pam Puso, the city's economic development chief, says they like the current mix and haven't reached the tipping point yet. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you cool all spring and summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, chance of rain, low of 54. Wednesday, chance of rain, high 67, low of 53. Thursday, overcast, high 70, a low of 55. Right now, overcast. We got some scattered showers to the west of us. 70 degrees in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lon Tay with Jeremy Warner. It is a Tuesday, a cloudy Tuesday, a mild Tuesday. I want it to be summer. It's not quite getting there, but I'm wearing shorts anyways.
I'm not going to argue with 70 degrees, even if the sun isn't out. But
it could be worse.
Lon Tay went to the doctor again this morning. That little pinched nerve or whatever he's got is bothering him. Put him on some drugs, told him not to drive, sent him home. He's icing it up. He hopefully will be back tomorrow.
All right, good. I have done the high-potency pain medications before, and it's
I have too.
It's fun for a day.
Well, I mean, I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I had a couple of those Vicodin, and how strong those things are. They can knock you out pretty quick. And then I dislocated my ankle. So I had some high potency drugs there. And you can understand how people get addicted to those things really quick. Like Ryan Leaf, right? If you watch that E60 over the week.
The best snap I ever took was post-Valium. I took a couple Valium, and because I'd screwed up my back last summer, and I got home, had to go to convenient care, and they gave me prednisone, which is a steroid, and then they gave me Valium.
Doesn't that stuff scare you?
A little bit.
Like, these prescription drugs scare the heck out of me.
I took 2 Valium total, and then after that it was all manageable with, ibuprofen or something like that, because I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole.
I'm one of those, and Lon's the same way. We try not to take any kind of drug or prescription or anything. Just have your body fend it off. You'll be better in the long run, whatever it is. But there's also just that that stuff going through your system just kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, I've seen too many episodes of Intervention.
That's right.
On A&E. I don't want to become one of those.
Well, we were talking about doing a draft later today. Maybe we can do a drug draft.
I think a drug draft would be great.
So Lon hopefully will be back tomorrow. Hopefully he's getting better today, feeling a little bit better. That's scary though. You get a pain in your arm like that.
And he said numb?
Yeah, his arm was feeling numb. Like yesterday during the show, he's sitting there shaking it out, like waving it. That's freaky.
That is freaky. But I'm glad that he nipped it in the bud. He got the meds he needs. Hopefully he's back tomorrow. And on Friday, are you guys heading north?
Yeah, we're going to head to Sugar Grove
cool.
and do our show live at the NCAA Championships. Got to talk to those guys again today at Demergent Indoor. Actually, Dylan Meyer and Coach Small were down in Texas today because Dylan Meyer, a finalist for the Ben Hogan Award. So really cool for them. Busy week, but it could be a long week. Hopefully it is a long week for them, but they start Friday in Sugar Grove. We're going to do our show there from 3 to 6, which will probably be after they're done with their round, but should be a really cool atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that Nick Hardy told me today is come support us. Fans, we want you out there. We want you wearing your orange and blue and going crazy because we saw it last year at Oregon. We'd love to have the fans come out again this year.
I think they will. Finally, a bit of a home course advantage for this team that all too often they have to travel basically across the country to play one of these.
We're going to talk some Illini with Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll also talk a little Cubs and a little Bears. Some news today. We'll talk about that with Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. He'll join us at 4:30. Pretty open show. The rest of the show, we got some fun things to talk about. But we do want to bring this up. And I texted Carp earlier today saying I don't really know how to approach this, except to acknowledge it, that we hear the rumors about a possible transfer from the University of Illinois, and we hear the name, that it's possibly Jalen Coleman-Lands. There is nothing official. I do think there is a strong possibility this happens, but it's really hard to talk about Carp when it hasn't happened, or even if we think it's going to happen, we're not certain it's going to happen. So I hate to even throw it out there, but it is out there. Twitter's gone crazy with it. I know people are talking about it out there. I know they want our opinions on it. If we have any information, listen, nothing is official. But transfer season is here, and coaching changes bring about a lot of this change. To me personally, and this is just my opinion, I don't get why Jalen Coleman-Lands would want to transfer. Maybe he wants to go to DePaul and go Shane Hireman, who's doing a heck of a job getting talent to DePaul.
Kidding.
But I think he's got a great opportunity here at Illinois, but we don't know what the discussion was between him and Brad Underwood. We don't know what he's feeling about Illinois right now. We don't know what he feels about another program right now. But we do hear it. We've reached out to Illinois. They've had no comment so far. So there is no news there yet. There's just rumors, speculation. I can say that talking with people in the industry, they do think this is going to happen, but there is nothing official yet. So that's all I could say. And I wish I had more for you, but it hasn't happened quite yet. But obviously, for a team that only has 9 scholarship players, losing another one, and the only one who's averaged double figures in a college basketball season, would be another big blow for Illinois.
Yeah, it is. If it happens, it's puzzling that it even would be considered. And I think when Underwood came in here, the excitement was the offense that he was bringing with him, and then you start looking at the existing players on the roster and thinking which ones are going to benefit the most. Finke continues to come up, and I still think that, no matter what, would have been the guy that takes the biggest jump. But at the same time, even though I had tempered my expectations of JCL ever being a star, I thought that this was a tailor-made situation for him to be the sharpshooter.
Yeah, to play that role.
Yeah.
I think some people, and I think Lon is really excited about JCL, and I try to rein in my expectations of him because I think that's what he is. I think he's a sharpshooter. I don't think he's more than that. I've been disappointed in his defense, his focus on defense. I do know the injuries, and that's why last year when he had that injury in the offseason again, I was like, I think this is a big deal because I think this delays his progression in everything else other than shooting. And then those shooting numbers came down last year, and I think he does need some pieces around him to help, and I feel like he finally had that this year. But I don't think he was ever going to be your best player. I don't even know if he's going to be your second best player. I do think he was a double-digit scorer and one of the best shooters in the Big Ten, possibly.
Short term, it would hurt if he ends up transferring.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would hurt a lot because that is just production that you can say that this offense is efficient no matter who's running it. But you look at Oklahoma State last year, Juwan Evans is not a guy that you can just pick from a tree and say, here's your All-American.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way. And, I mean, Mark Smith excites me. He will be an immediate impact player, but he's not going to be as good as a freshman.
Candidate.
No, he's not going to be. He's not going to be leaving after freshman year as a lottery pick, or not that Juwan Evans may be a lottery pick, but regardless, you look at this roster, it is concerning. Even as it stands,
I mean,
today
just
with 9 guys, right? Even as it stands today with 9 scholarship guys, and if you have any more attrition, all of a sudden you really need reinforcements, just strictly from a body standpoint. When it comes to long term, though, in trying to find a silver lining for if this happens to go down, and if Jalen Coleman-Lands elects to transfer from this program, with the backcourt of the future, so to speak, being Mark Smith, Tejon Lucas, Trent Frazier, you will be forced to have those 3 guys on the court at significant amounts of time.
And thoughts of redshirting DeMonte Williams?
Out the window.
Yeah, I mean, you need a body. You can't go from 8 to 7.
No.
Like, you can't. I mean, maybe he won't play a lot, but he's probably going to have to play.
And that concerns me. His senior year, let's say DeMonte's really good his senior year, a la a Robert Archibald. 2 very different players.
Mav Morgan,
another example where you think,
Warren
oh my
Carter.
God, one more. Yes. And that would be a long-term a negative impact of something like this, where you would have to play a guy like that. But what does excite me, if you were forced into this situation, which is not an enviable situation, that you do get to see Trent, Tejon, Mark Smith collectively a lot more.
You're talking about Mark's going to play 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
And he might not be the most talented freshman coming into the Big Ten. I think Jaren Jackson is probably that guy at Michigan State. Jordan Poole, I think, could have a great freshman year at Michigan. Maryland has a couple guys, Bruno Fernando and Daryl Morsel. But the odds-on favorite to lead Big Ten freshman scoring next year is Mark Smith.
Right.
Just because, 1, he has to. 2, this offense. He's going to get a lot of shots up, and I think it could be a very exciting year. And if he's here for 4 years, he could have some big numbers at the end of his career. But, yeah, you're going to rely a lot on freshman guards, and you still only have 2 big men. This is a scary situation if Jalen Coleman-Lands does transfer. And even if he doesn't, you just need more bodies. I mean, 9 guys right now. I don't think you're counting on much from DeMonte Williams. One of those guys is Aaron Jordan, which what is he going to be? He'd play a huge role then next year.
He'd have to.
As a 3-and-D guy. And I think he can help you, but that's got to be your 7th or 8th guy on the roster. Year 1, it definitely is, that's another blow to a team that has no margin for error, and the margin for error gets even smaller the thing is, we'll see how good of a coach Brad Underwood is right away if that happens. But it makes the Mark Allstork decision tomorrow even bigger for Illinois if this is the case.
It's huge, and if you do get a Mark Allstork, you can weather this. Even this season, I know that you're still looking at a numbers game where you only would have 9 scholarship players if this transfer happens and if you get Allstork. But I would be less concerned as far as putting a roster together that you can put on the court that can compete regularly. If you do not get an Allstork, and if Jalen Coleman-Lands elects to transfer with 8 scholarship guys, including minutes for DeMonte and significant minutes for Aaron Jordan, all of a sudden you're looking at a season where I don't want to call it a lost season because so far Brad Underwood is 4 for 4 making the tournament.
Well, and last year he had a thin team, short team, right? A team that was very young at Oklahoma State, and he made the tournament. The difference is he had Jawan Evans.
Yes. If
that roster was better than what this Illinois roster is right now.
I have not talked about the pressure of the fan recently. It would not be there all that much this year. I understand that there's anxiety no matter what the situation is. We want to make the NCAA tournament. We want to make it soon. But you would go into this season, even as presently constructed, thinking, well, let's see what happens. And now even more so. If this happens to go through, and if you don't get a guy like a Mark Allstork, then you enter it just kind of taking a wait-and-see approach and maybe just kind of having fun to watch a young developing team.
And here's the thing, I mean, I don't know. We just haven't heard a lot of names associated with Illinois outside of Allstork and Agau, right? Like, is there a sense of urgency in that office to get some guys here? I mean, just some bodies for next year. I mean, you need at least 2 more, a big guy and hopefully a wing, just to be there, just to fill out a roster and give you some guys who can actually compete for some minutes during Big Ten play. It just, so far we haven't heard those. Maybe they'll come up. There's still a ton of transfers sitting out there on the market. You know, DJ Williams hasn't gone anywhere quite yet. I mean, a lot of these guys that have been transferring, Mikhail McIntosh, I haven't heard anything about him.
No.
So like, there's still some names out there. But it's getting to that time where it's like they got summer session 1 in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
I mean, they get workouts here in 2 or 3 weeks.
I often fall in the trap, and this is fandom, I guess, of being the optimist when maybe there should be some alarm bells going off. But as I look at this situation in a roster that really needs filling out, no matter where we stand right now or what might happen in the next 24 hours, there's not this... I'm not overly concerned about it. And I don't know if that's me drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know if that's unfair of me. I think the big equalizer, it's 2 things. One is that Underwood's record through 4 seasons speaks for itself. But the biggest thing, and imagine an alternate reality where Mark Smith is not on your team.
I was about to say, thank goodness for Mark Smith. Because if you didn't have him and all this other stuff happens, pooh.
But, and when that happened, that was the biggest. I mean
think about Tillman, Williams, possibility of Jalen Coleman-Lands, not landing Badochi, right? I mean, you weren't able to land him when you wanted him. Haven't landed any transfers.
He might have wanted you.
Yeah, haven't landed any transfers quite yet.
Yeah, so the Mark Smith thing, we're seeing its impact even a month later, or I guess it would be, but 3-4 weeks since that happened. And how when that happened, it was both jubilation but also a sense of relief that you got that signature guy, or so we think, right away. And what that does is every subsequent recruiting, potential commitment, anything like that, it takes a little bit of that onus off of we need to get this guy or we need to get that guy. If this coaching staff, and namely Brad Underwood, has any sort of strategy going forward, he seems like one that is not overly hurried to get things done just to bring bodies in.
Right.
But there has to be some sort of middle ground here where you can bring immediate help that at the same time doesn't sacrifice your future.
I mean, what definitely is going to happen, no matter what happens with Coleman-Lands, is the class of 2018 becomes huge. It is absolutely huge, and it's taken on a much bigger importance than it was under John Gross. Gross is only going to take 1, maybe 2 guys. This is starting to look like minimum 3 guys, if not 5. At the most. I doubt they'll get to the 5 mark. I'm sure there'll be a transfer in there somewhere.
Well, 4 all of a sudden looks a lot more likely than it did.
And of course, you're going after Ayu Dosunmu, Tim Finke, Taylor Horton-Tucker. You need a big man in that class. I like where they stand with Dosunmu and Horton-Tucker right now. But you got to add a big man, and that's Orlando Antigua's task right there. And I think they should have a good class. And even if you have a bad, struggled year, subpar year next year, those guys should sign in November when you only have about 3 or 4 games underneath your belt. So that's a positive. But again, we haven't heard anything definitive about Jalen Coleman-Lands. We know the rumors out there. We know people want to have our thoughts or our information on it. I can just tell you, people within the business expect it to happen, but nothing official has happened quite yet. And we'll see. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess some of this stuff doesn't.
I'm looking forward to the times that we can have a conversation about what our expectations are for this team. You can't really do that until the roster is complete, and I guess within a month or so we're going to feel pretty good that this is the team that they're going into this season with. But even whatever my expectations may be going into this one single year, I do like the idea, and I'm really not trying to just kind of sweep this away because you would be losing a talented player.
Turn this into a positive, which I don't think it is.
No, it's not a positive, but it is not a positive more in the short term than it is potentially the long term. I do think that this may force, whether you want to call it trial by fire, whatever term you want to throw out there for it, that it is forcing young talent to play right away. And if you do see progress throughout this year, whether that means an NCAA tournament team or not, this is going to be a very young team. But by the end of it, they're going to be a very experienced team. And then it starts getting really exciting if you can build a 2018 class regardless of on-court wins that you see this year.
This is more important than next year, right? This is about building a culture. It's about building a program. And Underwood's going to need a lot of time to do that. I still think Gross left a better roster situation than Weber long-term, but it's starting to look less and less like that if this Coleman-Lands thing happens.
It was a fragile foundation.
Right. But this was, for Underwood, regardless of what you thought next year was going to be, no matter who was here, this is a rebuild. I know Illinois has been doing this for a decade now, but that's what it is. And you got to make sure you have people who want to be here, that want to be a part of this culture, that are into what Underwood's doing. So I think that's very, very important that this is a long-term view of this thing. And losing next year wouldn't be great, but it's not a death knell.
No. Do you think that there's something about Underwood's personality that is jarring upon first meeting him? I mean, it didn't strike me.
He's a hard driver.
Yeah.
He's brutally honest. And I think he's a lot different than John Gross, right? I think John Gross is more of a player's coach. I think Underwood is he's a good basketball coach, and he's going to drive you and make you feel a little bit more uncomfortable than I think Gross would at times.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Again, when we hear news, hopefully it's soon, we'll let you know. But we have asked Illinois for something, so they haven't had any comment on that yet.
All-Stork decision tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
Okay. Is there a time on that or just whenever?
Not sure, but LSU, Illinois seem like the big players here. Pitt is under consideration, as is South Carolina. It sounds like LSU has done really well there. It seems like Illinois has a great pitch there, so we'll have to see. But if this Jalen Coleman-Lands thing does happen and he leaves the program, that All-Stork decision becomes so much more important for next year.
You can always call us the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line or text us the Cheap Hour text line, same number, 359-2255. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at Fanboy Carp.
I tweet at J Warner Scout. You can download the WSJK app. You can get our podcast at ESPNCU.com or find us in iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Mark Tupper, Decatur Hill Review at 4:05, and Chris Emma, 670thescore.com at 4:30. In the NBA, we have a potential dynasty starting to happen. I mean, we can start about the talk of the start of it. The NHL, will get Harry's thoughts on the Preds dominating the last 15 minutes of that game.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, I mean, what a run they've had. We'll talk about that. And the Bond I grew up with passes away today at Roger Moore. We'll give our thoughts on that.
You grew up in the 70s?
These are the movies I watched.
Oh, okay.
Roger Moore were the Bond movies I watched.
I'm excited for some Bond conversation. I'm a pretty big James Bond fan. Roger Moore, he's up there. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It is the Tay and J Show.
It's our trip to Wrigley Field, Chicago. We're going to be in the rooftops, and you can come. We'll travel via motor coach to Chicago to the Wrigley Field rooftop in left field. See the Cubs take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 1:20. Rooftop tickets, motor coach, and parking to Chicago, only $199 each. These tickets will sell quickly. All your food and beverages included. Just come by our studios to pay by check. 2702 South Boulder in Urbana, or for complete details and the pay online, visit us at espncu.com. espncu.com.
Hanson's. What do you love about the greatest weekend in racing? The greatest drivers in racing? The greatest traditions in racing? The greatest party in racing? How about all of it? The greatest spectacle in racing starts Friday, May 26th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Miller Lite Carb Day and the Steve Miller Band. Then catch Firestone Legends Day on Saturday with Keith Urban. And on Sunday, May 28th, see the 101st running of the Indy 500 presented by Pengrade Motor Oil. Get your tickets now at Indy500.com.
Hanson's Auto Repair in Urbana is a family-owned and operated full-service garage. For over 40 years, they've offered friendly atmosphere, quality work, and reasonable prices. Whether it's an oil change, brake service, or engine replacement, Hanson's Auto does it all. They're a locally owned dealer who cares, providing fast, comprehensive, and expert service. Family-owned, operated, and trusted since 1966. Hanson's Auto Repair, 1202 East Washington in Urbana. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. Visit them online at hansonsautorepair.com.
The official fan store of the Fighting Illini is moving. Game Day Spirit, currently located at 1422 South Neal Street, is moving to the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign this July. In the meantime, they're preparing for the lowest prices of the season to be available during their moving sale in June. Stay tuned for more information and follow them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching Game Day Spirit. Stay in the know of all things Game Day and all things Fighting Illini with Game Day Spirit, the official fan store of the Fighting Illini.
Our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month, brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, our Law Enforcement Official of the Month from Stevie J Broadcasting is Officer Dan Ward, Senior Patrol Officer, Champaign Police. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for what you do. You're also wonderful. I just can't get over it. Why does Dan Ward love what he does?
That's a good question. And it's a complicated question. I think the simplest thing is, no matter what, you get to go out there and you either get to help people, which is great. It happens every day, at least, usually, if you try. Or at the worst, you get to help somebody through the worst day of their life. And both those things are good, and both those things have their place, and you're ultimately serving. So,
our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month is Dan Ward, Senior Patrol Officer for the Champaign Police Department. Brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
3:27. I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update. Baseball, a battle of aces at Wrigley tonight as John Lester takes on Johnny Cueto and the Giants. It's an early 6:05 first pitch due to the ESPN telecast. You can hear the radio call on our sister station US 105.9. Kyle Schwarber batting second, Ben Zobrist batting first in the lineup, and Ian Happ fifth. White Sox in Arizona with Dylan Covey taking on Patrick Corbin for an 8:40 first pitch. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are back in action on the West Coast. Lance Lynn takes on the best of his generation, Clayton Kershaw, for a 9:10 first pitch. You can hear it here loud and clear on ESPN Radio 93.5. Before the game, Cardinals called up Tyler Lyons, sent down Sam Tuivala. NBA, the Warriors rolled the Spurs 129-114. Game 4 win sweeps their way to the NBA Finals. The Warriors, the first NBA team to start a postseason 12-0. They'll await the winner in the East. The Celtics will look to tie up the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight in Cleveland for a 7:30 tip-off. Boston, a 14.5-point underdog. NHL, the Predators advanced to their first Stanley Cup final with a 6-3 Game 6 win over the Ducks. Tonight, the Penguins can clinch their second straight Eastern Conference title with a Game 6 win over Ottawa. Should we now call it the Now Fun League?
Okay.
NFL will allow group celebrations and celebrations that include using the ball as a prop. The league will still disallow offensive gestures that include prolonged acts, miming weapons, and sexually suggestive acts.
Ooh.
The NFL also reduced regular season overtime to a maximum of 15 minutes to a maximum of 10 minutes. Kevin White did not participate in workouts for the Bears today, and Mike Lennon said, "This is my year."
How exciting is that? When I think of Muse, I think of Walt Disney World. There's no real transition I can make into this, but we do have this great event coming up here with ESPN 93.5. We are sending you and your family for free to Walt Disney World. You'll be heading to Florida on an all-expenses-paid Disney World trip. This has already started. It started over the weekend, and you can go to these locations to register for free. Jet's Pizza, with 2 locations in Champaign, CarX on Neal, University, and Bradley. The Suites at 3rd leasing office, located at the Tower 3rd, that's on campus. Country Financial agent Jesse DeHaan's office off Bloomington Road in Champaign. The Prospect Bank in Edgar County with locations throughout central Illinois. Participating McDonald's restaurants and the Champaign Park District. You can register at Douglas Community Center, the Virginia Theater, and Leonard Rec Center. That's a Walt Disney World vacation. That's $3,500 Disney Parks gift card, $1,000 travel voucher for free. Get more details on the giveaway by logging on to ESPNCU.com.
So I'm going to put this poll question out there on at Tay and J Show on Twitter. Who is your favorite Bond? And I'm going to give the option Sean Connery, Roger Moore, who passed away today. So Roger Moore at the age of 89, a ginger Bond.
Yes, he was.
I'm not going to put Timothy Dalton on there.
You know, I actually saw both Timothy Dalton movies,
Yes.
and they are not bad.
They're not terrible.
No.
But he was only there for 2 movies.
He is surly Bond.
Yes. And then we'll go Pierce Brosnan or Daniel Craig.
Okay, so no George Lazenby.
I did not put George Lazenby on there.
Though I will give him credit, and the one movie he was in, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, is a good Bond movie. And he elected to do one because he didn't want to get typecast. And, of course, who could forget all the other great movies that George Lazenby has been in since?
I've never even heard of George Lazenby until you mentioned him today.
So
you are a Bond nut.
Not quite. There's a few movies I have not seen, but I did go through this phase where I would go to Blockbuster on Friday nights and get an old Bond movie.
Yeah.
And I try to work my way from Dr. No through the most recent ones. And oddly enough...
What age were you when you started doing that? Because I was about 9, 10 when I started getting to Bond, and we kind of did the same thing. We tried to go across all the Bond movies, which is a big task.
I would say that it started when we would play GoldenEye at sleepovers.
Yeah.
Literally stay up all night. Nintendo 64, 4-player, multiplayer GoldenEye.
That introduced the generation to Bond.
It did. And then I watched GoldenEye, which is a pretty good James Bond flick overall. Probably the best one that you saw from Pierce Brosnan. And then, let's see here. I would have been probably 11, 12 when I really got into it and was renting them about every week, it seemed like. The few that I have not seen. The Man with the Golden Gun. I heard that one's pretty bad. I have not seen...
Though Goldfinger was a very good satire of that one.
Oh, Goldmember.
Or Goldmember,
yes.
Goldmember.
Let's see. I've not seen A View to a Kill, which is the last Roger Moore one. I have not seen all of Octopussy.
Yes.
And I try to say that fast.
I think you're allowed to say a title of a movie.
No, you're right. And let's see.
Certain movies.
And I actually, come to think of it, I only saw one of the Dalton movies. I didn't see The Living Daylights.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Roger Moore because he's the one I watched the most as a kid. And I thought, Sean Connery obviously was the first one. And he's Sean Connery. But Roger Moore played it so well. And I think the 70s just lent itself to that era
Very
so
kitschy.
well. Yes, and that's what Bond movies to me are. I love Casino Royale. I didn't love Quantum of Solace, and I haven't seen the other ones yet. Skyfall I heard was very good.
Spectre I've heard's kind of a mess.
And I get it. This day and age, the dark superhero movies I like the most. Like the Batman movies to me are the best because there's a little darkness to them. It's more real. Daniel Craig, that's kind of what that part is. And having a blonde is different for Bond. He's good. But for me, Roger Moore kind of epitomizes what I think of the character of James Bond, which has always been kitschy.
What is your favorite Roger Moore Bond movie then? There's Live and Let Die.
I
Pretty
love
good.
Live and Let Die. I think that one might be my favorite, and one of the big reasons is Jane Seymour.
She's, yes.
21-year-old Jane Seymour?
She has a great name in Live and Let Die. And that's another discussion I wanted to have is maybe the names of Bond girls. Not which Bond girls were the hottest, because that's been done many, many times.
Yes.
Let's see. There's Moonraker, which is not good, per se, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Yes.
And it's pretty fun.
Jaws is a great
Jaws.
villain.
And that followed up The Spy Who Loved Me.
Solitaire was Jane Seymour.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. So The Spy Who Loved Me, that would have been Roger Moore's third movie, which came after The Man with the Golden Gun. Spy Who Loved Me was really good. Moonraker is fun. For Your Eyes Only is a pretty good, understated Bond movie. Octopussy's a lot of fun, pretty goofy. And then A View to a Kill, which had the Duran Duran theme song, which is probably the most memorable. Oh, I guess Christopher Walken was in it. And so was Grace Jones as Mayday?
Yeah.
Okay, she was in it too.
She was really good in that as well. You either like Roger Moore or you don't. I think everyone's kind of particular about this. Most people are going to go Connery, I would think, just because he was the first one.
Yeah.
It always seems like you go with the first one. Pierce Brosnan, I thought, played it well, too.
I think Pierce Brosnan was a good Bond in not-so-good movies.
Terrible movies. Yeah. It got the 90s Michael Bay treatment.
Yes, and then Die Another Day with The Invisible Car. That was just a bridge too far. Right. And then they go away for a while, and they come back with Casino Royale and really bounce back.
We've done this before, but who do you think's the next one? Because Daniel Craig said he's done with him, as he should be.
Well, I saw yours, Damian Lewis, and he's been in what again?
He was in Band of Brothers. He's now in Billions. A lot of people know him from that.
Is he the lead opposite of Paul Giamatti?
Yes.
Okay, I need to see that show, but I've heard he's great, and he's British as well.
He's British. He's a ginger. He's a phenomenal actor.
And I would also consider, and I know this name's been thrown about, Idris Elba, who age may be a concern. Also, he's a black guy. That throws some people off, except for the fact he is the coolest dude in Hollywood.
Which a lot of people think it might be time for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's more about what you personify. Daniel Craig does not necessarily look like how we thought James Bond looked. Sean Connery kind of established that prototype, right? And you kept with that, apart from Roger Moore, mostly dark-haired sort of Bond. I think Idris Elba would be great. The first time I saw him as Stringer Bell on The Wire, I thought that guy is the coolest dude.
Yeah.
Coolest actor going right now.
You know what he's good in, and he's only a voice? The Jungle Book. Have you seen the new Jungle Book?
What character is he in that?
It's really good. He's Shere Khan.
Wow, okay.
So that voice that he does is really good.
You know who directed The Jungle Book?
Yes, it was, I can't think of his name right now.
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau, yes.
From Iron Man fame. Who also, if you have Netflix, a movie called Chef. That he's
phenomenal.
Isn't that great?
He was in Swingers with Vince Vaughn, right?
Yeah, he wrote and directed that too.
Couples Retreat, he's in there.
And for those that may not know who that is, if you've seen Rudy, he's Rudy's somewhat rotund friend from Notre Dame. And then he went on to be a multi-millionaire director.
No surprise right now, Sean Connery, the early lead, tied with Daniel Craig at 33%. Roger Moore, 18. Brosnan, 16.
Okay. Well, love
so
for Brosnan.
That's very early. We only got 57 votes, but you can vote at Tay and J Show, your favorite Bond. But, I mean, kind of shows all these guys had their moments, right? They're all pretty good at it. So they've got a pretty good hit rate with the Bond so far.
It took a while to get over Pierce Brosnan's character in Mrs. Doubtfire because I always hated him because because you love Robin Williams and then he's this very
steals Sally Field.
Yeah, I know.
What a jerk.
I know. But in that scene in the pool where he throws the orange at his head.
Runaway fruiting?
Yes, runaway fruiting. We're going to switch, not very smoothly, from James Bond talk back to Illinois basketball talk. It is Mark in Urbana on the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line. Mark, thanks for holding.
Hey, no problem. Enjoying the conversation with James Bond. I'm a big Sean Connery fan, especially Dr. No.
Yeah, so, there you go.
Throw that out there. But I was just kind of tuning in when you guys were talking about the Jalen Cole land possibly transferring.
Yeah, there's I just want to reiterate, there's nothing official there yet, right? But there's rumors out there. I've heard that it's expected, but there is no official news there yet. So I just want to reiterate that.
Yeah, and I was just talking to a friend, just about that. And, with Higgins, thinking about Underwood and where his coaching tree and his personality, I could see seem like, Frank Martin or Huggins, see a lot of, he's going to speak whatever on his mind. He might rub people the wrong way. And I could kind of see, some people not, needing to adjust to his personality. Not saying that he's, good or bad either way, but, I just wanted to throw that out there, and I enjoy you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, and I think, that's why you make a change in leadership is to change something, right? And obviously the culture with John Gross wasn't there. John said it was getting there, but he'd had 5 years and he didn't get it to that point. So they wanted to make a change, and they are very different personalities, just as coaches. And yes, the coaching tree is much different. I think there is a different personality, and if you don't want that, then you should move on. That's your choice. A player should have that power to say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore and go somewhere else. So I don't mind that. And if in the long run you didn't want to be here, I think it's best for both sides if you decide to move on.
I feel like I underrated the whole change element of it. In other words, how jarring it could be to go from one head coach to the other, especially the coach that you signed on for. Now, the part of me that got very, very frustrated throughout the John Gross era, because there weren't enough wins on the court, because there was no consistency, because very rarely did he go into a game thinking that you had the upper hand in terms of coaching. So it is hard for me to adjust my mind to players not wanting to play for Underwood, yet they wanted to play for Gross. But at the same time, as frustrated as I was with the John Gross era, I feel like I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth.
Here's the thing. I think this is a way to put it in perspective for all of us, right? Your boss just got fired. Aren't you going to look around?
Sure.
Because he's the one that hired you. He's the one that attracted you to that job. Now, maybe sometimes we don't end up liking that boss, but he's one of the reasons you got there. So now he leaves. I think you're going to start looking around. And once you have a meeting, once you've, had a couple of weeks with him and you decide, I don't see the fit here. I think that's what DJ Williams obviously considered. Maybe Brad Underwood said, hey, this is going to be your role. Whether you like it or not, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. And John Gross had those same discussions with Devin Langford, Michael Henry, all those guys who trained for show.
But that's what makes this one in particular weird to consider.
He's very good.
Yeah.
But maybe his role wasn't going to be the same, the one he signed up for at Illinois, and he decided, I want to go somewhere else where that is going to be my role. Now, is that recruiting another player? Back channels. Mm-hmm. You don't have to talk to that player to get him out of a transfer. But I think that's how we all would, if you want to kind of put it in your own mind, your boss changes, I think you're going to start looking around, and it's not a surprise. I mean, when coaching changes happen, there's always going to be turnover. And maybe it's a little bigger than we thought, given Jeremiah Tillman, DJ Williams, and now maybe Jalen Coleman-Lands. Those are two really important pieces, we thought, and one that, I think we kind of figured could move on.
The arrogant side of me is almost like, well, if you don't want to play for, and this is because of Underwood's record again.
Yeah.
And also the fact that you have an offense that is tailor-made for some of these guys, whether it be recruits that aren't really into it or the attrition that you see potentially happening from the guys you already had on this roster. And it is just really hard for me to come up with a logical argument as to why you would go now. And the only thing I can resort back to is maybe personality fit or the fact that I just underrated, yes, you made a coaching change, and some of these guys were so into what the culture that had been established by the previous coach that they just were not feeling comfortable for whatever reason with this new one.
And here's the thing, Trent Frazier now would take a way bigger role if this happens, and he would be your Jalen Coleman-Lands. Mark Smith can score. Tijon Lucas is your point guard. But you got to add a grad transfer if JCL leaves. I mean, you need a score, and I just don't know if, besides Allstork, if there are other big names out there, or if you can land a Mikhail McIntosh or something like that and move Kipper to the 3. I mean, you're just depth-wise is what really hurts. I mean, if you lost JCL and you have 11 other guys on the roster, you'd feel a little bit better because you do have some guards who can score, but they're young. And he's one of the better shooters in the Big Ten, but I think that's what he is. I think, top 50 recruit. He had a great freshman year. Our expectations went a little higher. I think could be one of the better shooters in the Big Ten. I don't know if he's ever going to be one of the top 2 players on this team.
I think based on the offense alone, he was good for another few points per game this year.
Oh, he's going to be a 12, 13, and that's a big loss.
So now it's just about, everyone else is going to have to kind of divvy up those shots unless you get a guy like a Mark Allstork that would light it up anyways. So offensively, I'm still not concerned. It's kind of funny how if for whatever reason college basketball were 30 minutes a game, if you had 2 15-minute halves, then this team would be in great shape, right?
But especially the pace they want to play at, the defense in your face, like that takes a lot of energy.
And I do wonder, too, because we know that Underwood is pretty flexible in terms of what kind of style he's going to implement, well, especially defensively, I should say, because he switched that up at Oklahoma State last year. But do you have to change the way that you want to play based on the fact that you just don't have the bodies?
Right.
I don't see a way that you could have 8 or, for that matter, 9 scholarship players go out there, especially with how young this team is going to be, and ask them to play 110%, 75 miles an hour for an entire game and not be completely burnt out, at least by the end of the game. But if not then mid-February when you're in the heat of the Big Ten and these guys have had more miles on their legs than they've ever had before.
It's going to be interesting to see what this roster is come August, right?
I mean,
what it actually looks like.
Call me an optimist, but I feel like there's probably 2 names And you could include Olstwerk on that, sure. Yeah. That we don't know, that's not on the team right now.
There has to be.
Right?
You just need, just bodies. At some point, you have to add a big man body.
Yeah.
I don't even know how good he is. You just need a body down there.
Pretty much, defensively. I mean, because you're 5. If the 5 defensively is going to be out there for 15 minutes a game, if it's strictly about a body, I don't really care how good he is offensively. If he can get some garbage buckets and a couple offensive rebounds, that's all I need from him offensively. But you do need to get someone in there because I can't count on Finke and Black to not have games where they aren't going to get in foul trouble.
Right. Exactly. And then Kipper's playing a lot of 4.
Kipper's, and you know what?
Is Mark Smith playing the 4?
Why? I feel like Kipper, to a degree, when I think about next year's rosters or who could be on the court at any given time, I keep forgetting about Kipper.
A lot of people do.
And I don't want to get too high on him, but
he's a nice piece.
He played like a seasoned veteran, and
he knows his role.
Yeah, you forget that he was not a true freshman,
everything DJ Williams didn't have, which was the awareness of knowing his role, knowing I got to play defense, give energy. That's what Kipper gives you.
Yeah.
I mean, some nights he might not make a huge impact. Other nights, he's the kind of culture guy you want, right? So I think he's a very important part of next year, especially given he can play the 3 and the 4. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, 217-359-2255. Harry's fired up about these NHL playoffs, and boy, they've been good. A lot more entertaining so far than the NBA playoffs, but
that goes without saying.
In about a week, I think the NBA playoffs are going to be a lot of fun, so we'll talk about that as well coming up.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mosquitoes can be a nuisance.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Adam Schefter just in the last couple of minutes tweeted, NFL overtime expected to be reduced today to 10 minutes from 15 minutes. Quote, it's happening, said one league official. There's 2 different routes to do it. There's player safety, and then there's competitiveness. So those seem to be some of the thoughts that go into this. What do you think of it?
I have a better solution. No overtime. If there's a tie, it's a tie. If we're really worried about we're going to cut 5 minutes down, thinking that's going to make a difference in what we're trying to accomplish by that, if player safety and the risk and all that and the travel and how competitive it goes, forget overtime. Just put it in the playoffs if you need it. You know, we had games end up in a tie, and guess what? This season's still going to happen. It didn't ruin the season. We've had ties before. So what?
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders here to announce that KFC's new Spicy Crispy Zinger Chicken Sandwich is now available in a $5 fill-up for a limited time. Why? Because who wants to spend $7 on a meal at a burger place when you could spend $5 on a hand-breaded Zinger Chicken Sandwich, wages, a cookie, and a drink at KFC? I mean, we specialize in chicken. You need another reason? I didn't think so. Try the Zinger in a $5 fill-up at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Tax extra.
At Ferguson, service is our most important part. So if service is the part you're missing from your supply house, come into one of our 600 nationwide locations and let our team help yours. Whether it's tracking down those hard-to-find parts, having your order ready and waiting at our will call, or helping you manage your inventory with our SKU app and online ordering, the edge every trade professional needs is right around the corner. And with Ferguson Pro Plus, you'll earn redeemable points with every online purchase. Come into one of our locations or visit Ferguson.com today.
Mosquitoes can be a nuisance, and after a mild winter like we had, they're even worse. Let Prairie View Landscaping get rid of those pesky mosquitoes so you can enjoy the summer outdoors without bugs getting in the way. And since it's Prairie View Landscaping's 25th year in business, they're celebrating by offering up to 25% off their mosquito program. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. And if you sign up by May 31st, you can win 2 free mosquito control applications out of 4. Prairie View Landscaping, mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
You buy Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Bring into double points now through the end of May with the Illini Visa Rewards Card and the U of I Community Credit Union. Double points are waiting for you. Now through the end of May, use your Illini Visa Rewards Card on purchases for lawn and garden, sporting goods, nurseries, and home improvement stores and score double points. Plus, you can earn an extra 1,000 bonus points when you use your Illini Visa for 20 or more transactions each month. Use those points to purchase once-in-a-lifetime trips and experiences. Not a member yet? Visit IlliniCard.org today.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air. They all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
I'm Jay Lehman, and as a former college and professional athlete, I love Saladmeister. Why? Because it's guilt-free food. Not only is Saladmeister healthy and affordable, but it's also safe for the environment. From their bowls and forks to their lighting and equipment, Saladmeister uses only green products. But the best part is that it tastes so good, you forget it's good for you.
Saladmeister, the masters of salad creation, now open in Champaign.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Puff Daddy, Jimmy Page, Come With Me, or Godzilla soundtrack, 1997.
Best duo of the 90s right there.
That would actually be an interesting talk. Duo draft. Think of all the big pop songs from, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton.
Have you ever seen that meme? Name a more iconic duo.
Than Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page? I would be hard-pressed to find a more iconic duo than that.
It is the Tay and J Show. He's Mike Carpenter filling in for Lante. I'm Jeremy Warner. I want to bring Harry Black in here in a second. But even I have to admit, Carp, I know the NBA's taking it on the chin just because it has not been an entertaining playoffs.
No.
Last night you have the Western Conference Finals going on. I had no interest in watching.
No.
Turned it on for like the first 10 minutes, and then the Warriors were blowing them out. And I'm like, even I can't get into this game, right? So I turn on MLB Network, which I love to do. I'm so into baseball right now, even though my team, I don't watch all that much the White Sox because a lot of these guys aren't going to be here in a while.
Yeah.
But just all the talent in MLB. And then you watch MLB tonight, and it's basically like watching the Red Zone, right? And there's just so much talent right now in baseball, so many intriguing storylines. And then I turn on the NHL because there's drama there. I'm going to be all in on the NBA next week, but I get why people aren't watching it right now because it really hasn't mattered up until the Warriors and Cavs play, and then you got to hope if you're the NBA that it's iconic. But people are going to watch no matter what. With that,
they're going to watch no matter what. I will say that it's not good for the league. The finals potentially could be the saving grace for all of it, but there is also a chance the way that the Warriors are playing, and I guess you could say the same thing for the Cavs before Game 3, is. I don't know.
What odds would you put on? Ask Juan.
Okay.
What odds would you put on if the Warriors sweep the playoffs?
Oh, no.
Like if I gave you 5-1 odds, would you put money down on that?
No, because I think the Cavs are going to get a couple.
10-1.
But would it be fair to say that the Warriors 70-30 shot that they beat the Cavs?
Oh, I
greater than that.
I would have greater than that.
Okay.
I just think the Warriors are playing that well. I think it's going to be a good series. I think it goes probably 6. Mm-hmm. But I just think the Warriors are that good.
I tell you what, that's why it will be especially fun to watch this finals on the heels of last year because you add Kevin Durant and all of a sudden it is
to a team that was up 3-1.
Well, it's weird to think of. It's weird to think of any team with LeBron James being this drastic underdog, like a David versus Goliath, and LeBron is on David's team.
Yeah,
but that would be the situation here, I think. And if the Cavs were somehow to pull this off, that would negate all the boringness that we've seen for the last month.
This has been good for the NHL, though, because the NHL has been really intriguing. Maybe people want to watch a little bit more competitiveness in the playoffs. And Harry Black, our intern, has been all over this. Last night was cool. That was a really cool scene in Nashville with the Predators advancing.
It was a fun third period. It goes in 2-1. They go up 3-1. About 5 minutes in.
And you think it's over.
You think it's over. The Ducks come back with a goal about a minute later. Then a controversial goal, which Nashville fans think is controversial, but it really wasn't.
Right.
There was no goaltender interference. And then you have a 3-3 game in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals with 8 minutes left. And I mean, personally, I wanted to go to overtime because I just want to see the most fun.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy ending. Obviously, Nashville, puts ahead the.
What has made them so great? I mean, because they've gone through. Obviously, they start with the Blackhawks. If you're a Blackhawks fan today, you're probably like, hey, at least we lost to the Western Conference champ.
I don't know what it's been. I think it's obviously you got to give a big part of the credit to Pekka Rinne, who is probably the best goaltender left in the playoffs. Definitely now, when all you have left is Craig Anderson and Matt Murray. He's definitely the best of the three remaining. But also you have some young talent in Victor Arvidsson and PK Subban is obviously an iconic defenseman they got earlier this year. I think they've just found ways to stifle and frustrate opponents. When they played the Blackhawks have a lot of talent and a lot of individual talent. Patrick Kane tries to stick handle past people. They just put 4 people in the neutral zone, and they say, you're not going to get by us with that. Dump in the puck and go chase it.
Right.
Blackhawks couldn't do it. And then they faced the Blues, who basically were just a hot goaltender. I'm surprised they won 2 games in that series. And then the Ducks, who always just falter in the playoffs, they've had – I don't want to say an easy path to the finals because I don't want to diminish what they've done, but it hasn't been the hardest. I think when they go to the Cup and they take on who I think it's going to be the Penguins, I think
Game
it's going to be
6 tonight.
Yeah, Game 6 tonight. And on that, I think that the Senators are going to come out strong because they got whacked in the last game. They got
7-0.
7-0. My goodness, I think Senators are going to come out strong, but I do think that the Penguins are probably going to end up winning that one pretty handily by 2 goals. Let's say like 3-1.
Yeah.
But I think when it's the Predators against the Penguins, I am very hesitant to ever say this because I don't think I don't think most series go to Game 7s. They obviously don't. But I could see that one going to 7, at least 6. But then if the Predators were to play the Senators, it's a tongue twister, then that one I don't think the Senators match up very well at all. I think the Senators are lucky to be where they're at. They have an average goaltender. They have a great defenseman in Carlson, but I don't think that they get past the Predators. I don't even think they get past 5 games if they were to take them on. I think the Predators have a formula to beat anyone they're playing right now. And the only reason I think that the Penguins would really probably win that game in 6 or 7 series in 6 or 7 games is because they seem very similar to the Blackhawks in that they have experience and speed and good goaltending, but they will now know, okay, we can't take these guys lightly, like what I think the Blackhawks did.
Yeah.
I think the Blackhawks win that series, maybe not win it, but it's closer if they play them in the 2nd or 3rd round.
That's a great hockey breakdown.
Wow.
He's into it.
Done, sir.
That'd be really cool for the city of Nashville. Right? I mean, sports-wise, Tennessee, they haven't, made a championship thing since the Titans.
No, since that one run in 99.
Yeah. Good stuff, Harry. Appreciate that. Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald Review, talking to Lana, coming up next.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Are you looking for a new home or planning to refinance your existing home? Hi, this is Todd Durakan from First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana, getting you and your home faster with loan closings in 30 days, mortgage loans and refinancing that's fast, friendly, and local. We invite you to visit our experienced team of mortgage experts to find out how First Federal Savings Bank can help you with your loan closing in 30 days. For more information, visit 356bank.com. First Federal Savings Bank of Champaign-Urbana. Get what you want out of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Eat, shop, play, explore, rediscover Campustown every Thursday from May 25th to August 17th during 13 Thursdays. Summer is finally here and we are loving the specials in Campustown. You can find great deals on clothing, accessories, and food each Thursday at participating campus businesses. Save big this summer when you shop and eat your way through Campustown. And enjoy free 1-hour parking at the campus parking deck located on 6th and Healy every Thursday. Visit ChampaignCenter.com. 13 Thursdays is presented by the Champaign Center Partnership.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air. They all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by the guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111. You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, The Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady, and this is a Fox News alert. British Prime Minister Theresa May announcing moments ago that counter-terror officials are raising the threat level in Britain from severe to critical.
This means that their assessment is not only that an attack remains highly likely, but that a further attack may be imminent.
This based on the continuing investigation of last night's concert bombing in Manchester, where Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Lisa, 10 p.m. here, and British Prime Minister Theresa May just appearing on TV to make that announcement in the past few minutes, saying the terror threat level is being raised to its highest notch. That description, critical, means an attack could be imminent, and soldiers will be on the streets here backing up armed police. It's not an unprecedented announcement, but it hasn't happened for several years. The bomber last night, meanwhile, has been identified by police as 22-year-old Salman Abedi, who was born and raised in Britain. The Prime Minister saying it's considered possible that he wasn't working alone and may be part of a larger network. Lisa?
Simon, thanks. It's been an emotional day after in Britain. The youngest victim of last night's concert attack, an 8-year-old girl, at least 22 killed in all, 59 wounded. Those chants were during one of the many vigils held across England today, that one in Manchester. A man armed with a knife and a baseball bat interrupting another vigil in Birmingham, England, quickly detained by police. Gains on Wall Street, the Dow up 43 points, the NASDAQ up 5, the S&P up 4 points. This is the Fox Report. Fair and balanced.
Looks like some cable and phone companies are trying to sell home security. But when a burglar sees one of their signs in the front yard, what does it say? Oh, wow, this home has 599 channels. Or, oh, these guys have high-speed internet. But the ADT sign, it says, this family trusts the company whose name means security. So beat it. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes.
Learn more at ADT.com and to see licensing and terms and conditions.
Here's a little ditty about that John Deere mower deck that mows faster, better. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. If you just mow fast but your yard looks bad, then you got a lot of ugly grass. You need a John Deere to take care of your yard. You need a Z-Track Z3 45R. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. The XL deck's got more capacity for yards like yours that get to grassity. Want to mow well in a higher gear? See a John Deere dealer, nothing runs like a deer.
Recapping the breaking news out of London, the British Prime Minister just announcing the terror threat level has been raised to its highest level and the military will replace police officers at some public events. After tweeting how heartbroken she was over the bombing last night at her concert in Manchester, Ariana Grande has reportedly flown home to Florida for now to be with family with no decision yet about her tour. Her next scheduled show is Thursday in London. President Trump wrapping up his trip to the Holy Land with condemnation of the Manchester bombing. While in Washington today, his budget was unveiled and ridiculed by Democrats.
The Trump budget takes a sledgehammer to the middle class and to working class Americans.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says it also relies on fantasy math. But White House Budget Chief Mick Mulvaney says they refuse to accept economic growth of less than 2% as the new normal.
3% is the old normal. 3% will be the new normal again under the Trump administration.
He says compassion is enabling people who can work to get off social programs. President Trump meets with Pope Francis tomorrow. Fox's Courtney Walsh in Rome.
The Pope and the President have clashed over building border walls, helping migrants and climate change. Francis, who preaches humility and welcoming migrants, said on a trip to Mexico last year that building walls was not Christian, to which candidate Trump responded.
A religious leader
To question a person's faith is disgraceful.
Both sides now appear eager to lower expectations for the meeting and find common ground. One possible area, fighting human trafficking.
Daughter Ivanka plans to meet with female trafficking victims while the First Lady visits the Vatican's pediatric hospital. Actor Roger Moore has died.
But James, I need you.
So does England.
He played James Bond in 7 films. He was 89 and had cancer. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you cool all spring and summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, chance of rain, low 54, continues into tomorrow with raindrops, high 67, low 53, overcast on 70, mostly clear, low of 55. Right now, mostly cloudy, 69 degrees, some rain showers to the west in Champaign-Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. First hour, talked a little bit of the rumor mill surrounding Illinois basketball. We'll see when and if some news comes down regarding a potential transfer. Also talked a little bit of James Bond, which we'll get more into that as the show goes along, and get back to the poll, which we asked you who your favorite James Bond actor was. Roger Moore, of course, passed away today at the age of 89. And talked a little bit with Harry Black. That was a very informative segment on the NHL. I feel totally up to speed, ready for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Poor Roger Moore, finishing last in our poll today.
Last?
Yeah, he's 11% is the favorite Bond. No surprise, Sean Connery is at the top at 43%. Daniel Craig, 28%. Pierce Brosnan at 18.
Okay, Pierce getting some love. I like that. About 1/5. Daniel Craig, what are your thoughts on him?
I thought it was good. It was a good take, different take. And I thought he did really well. I mean, Casino Royale, I think, is a phenomenal movie.
It is.
I think that's one of the better Bond movies I've seen. It's just different than the character of Bond played by some previous guys.
He was the right guy for the right time. Yeah. I think that franchise probably needed him.
Let's head to the Jupiter's of the Crossing phone line. Don't forget, Tuesdays, get half off large pizzas all day at Jupiter's of the Crossing. He's Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review.
Got a good reason. We're talking Illini sports now with Mark Tupper, Illini writer, yeah. He's been here so knows a lot, so let's chat now.
Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review. Haven't had him on the show in a while. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Jeremy? Hi, Mike.
Are you refreshed? Did you get any vacation in here lately?
I got 1 week in. I've got some coming up, a couple weeks coming up, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. But it's been, it's kind of a quiet time right now.
Yeah, a little bit. Illinois basketball, there's rumors out there about another player possibly transferring, and some people think it's Jalen Coleman-Lands. There's no official word yet. There's no news there yet, Mark. But it shows that, DJ Williams leaves, Jeremiah Tillman doesn't stay. Sometimes we forget when there's a coaching change, there's going to be other change that kind of comes along with it.
Absolutely. It certainly can happen. If you just monitor what Brad Underwood has been saying, it's kind of been interesting because who has he been talking up? He's been talking up LaRon Black. He's been talking up Kipper Nichols, Michael Finke, Tijon Lucas, and Mark Smith.
Yep.
I haven't heard him say much about Jalen Coleman-Lands. And then you look at the group of guards. If you look at Tijon and Trent Frazier and Mark Smith, and there's been a lot of Mark Smith conversation. Aaron Jordan is still in the program. DeMonte Williams, maybe Mark Allstork. You can sort of see where Jalen Coleman-Lands might be looking around, listening around, and saying, "Well, I don't hear my name that much." Mm-hmm. And I mean, it certainly sounds like they're going to play Mark Smith a lot, and it certainly sounds like they're going to play Tijon Lucas a lot. And if they get Mark Allstork, he's definitely going to play a lot. And he may just feel like he's got a diminished role, and he probably looks past the fact that I thought he was a little bit disappointing last season and just didn't blossom into the more complete player that I hope maybe he could be. So I don't know. I mean, it's entirely possible.
You know, it's kind of confusing to me, Mark, when you look at the on-court situation and the style of basketball, especially offensively. And I thought, you know, other than Michael Finke, the guy that might benefit most from that is Jalen Coleman-Lands. The only thing, and this is pure speculation, that I can go back towards is that maybe this culture change that is ongoing right now with the basketball program was a little bit more jarring than I might have even thought myself.
That's possible. I don't see where that would be happening in a negative way. It certainly doesn't seem to have been that for the people that we mentioned, LaRon Black, Kipper Nichols. I mean, and I thought JCL would be a guy, because Brad Underwood is really emphasizing, I want to recruit shooters, and that's what he is. He's a shooter, that there would be a role for him in this, but who knows what else is going on with him. He's always been a little mysterious to me. I don't know what, is Shane Hireman talking to him? He's up at DePaul now. I don't know. I don't know what else going on there, but just in listening to things, that I guess it wouldn't surprise me. It'd be too bad, because I think he could have a role, and I like him as a shooter, and I think he's a good athlete. And maybe we haven't, I don't want to say we've seen the finished product on him. Maybe we haven't. Maybe this was going to be the year when he showed you maybe some more skills and some more things that he could do.
Yeah, I always wanted to see a little more defensive focus, because I think he could be good there. He's long, he's athletic, he's quick, and he always seemed to get in passing lanes. So I think that would be his next step. And I think offensively, you kind of know what he is, which could be an elite shooter. How big of a rebuild is this for Brad Underwood? You don't want to hear that after so long of so many rebuilds here, Mark, but how big of a task is this for him?
It's a pretty good-sized rebuild. Depending on what happens here in the next, week or so, and even if they get an All-Stork, he's 1 year. They've got to go out and get some size. The thing that makes me not worry much about it is that I think he's put together a staff that's going to recruit, and I think he's got a plan and a concept for it, and I think they're going to go get some people. I think the biggest disadvantage that he has right now is that nobody has seen what Illini basketball will look like in the Brad Underwood mold. And you can go back and watch tapes of Oklahoma State games, or you can go watch Stephen F. Austin games if that helps you. But I think all of us are going to need to see the way he runs it in orange and blue. And I think once recruits see that, I think that's when the excitement will build. I think until then, though, there's sort of this missing ingredient as he begins to talk to players that will be helped the minute they start playing and people get tape of how he runs it with Illinois. I think that's going to be really valuable to him.
Mark Tupper from the Decatur Herald and Review joining us on the Tay and J Show. Mark, what has been the biggest thing that has stood out to you in the first 2 months of the Underwood era? As far as him personally, any interaction that you've had with him or just any sort of media gatherings, what sticks out first and foremost with Brad Underwood?
I haven't had a ton of contact with Brad. I've had some, and I'm not discouraged by anything. So I'm on board. I think once we see what his stuff looks like, I think we're going to be really encouraged. I'm encouraged because I think he's a really good coach, and I like the way he put together what I would consider to be a recruit first staff. But now we need to see it a little bit, and he's been all business. I mean, he's just been going, and trying to get a feel for where they are in recruiting and assessing some players, evaluating some kids that he hadn't seen, trying to decide if offers given previously were legitimate or if they wanted to go some different directions on some kids, and then putting this team through the paces. And so, I mean, I'm encouraged. I haven't seen anything to make me discouraged. The Tillman thing, I wasn't discouraged about. I mean, it's too bad because it would have been nice, but I don't think those were circumstances entirely within his control. The JCL thing will probably spook people a little bit, but as you said, there's some of this that happens in a coaching change that you can't anticipate all of it, and some of it'll kind of surprise you, but it opens up another scholarship. And I like I said, I have faith in their ability to fill these with quality people. I guess we still need to see that, but that's where I'm at.
You know, this whole story kind of illuminates, and if you go back to the Tillman thing, or even Javon Pickett for that matter, when he decommitted, and it feels like little chinks in the armor, it feels like hits on a basketball program that's taken so many of them. But news, or I should say rumor, like that's kind of been going around the last 24 hours, illuminates how big of a recruit and how big of a pickup Mark Smith is for Underwood.
There's no doubt about that. I mean, that it would, if you think things are a little bit unsettled because of some of these things with Tillman or with Coleman Lands, think how it would be if you didn't have the Mark Smith commitment in hand, because that's been a real high for him right now, being able to keep Mark's focus on Illinois amidst obviously an onrush of competition from quality programs. So, yeah, I mean, that is really, really big. And you know, we haven't even talked. I think there was a period, when you think about it, when everybody was talking about Trent Frazier. I don't hear anybody talking about Trent Frazier anymore. And I think he has a chance to play a lot and maybe make a mark here. So, you know, and Aaron Jordan will be kind of interesting too. I don't know what we've got there exactly, but if he ends up staying and maybe he is, good for him. You know, I like kids that are that don't think the grass is greener on the other side of the street all the time. That say, you know what, I'm going to hang in here and see what happens. I might find what I want right here.
Yeah, and he's a kid who knows his role, seems to be a very positive influence and a positive presence in the program, and he's got an opportunity to be a 3-and-D guy and help this team out. Illinois DePaul, it's been a long time, Mark, since we've had this kind of matchup, and given Shane Hireman, it seems like this could be a little bit more intriguing storyline for us to write about, at least in November.
Well, you know, it wasn't all that long ago. I mean, it was 15 years ago probably, but maybe even a little more than that, maybe more like 18 years ago. But the Illinois DePaul thing was nasty.
Yeah.
That, you know, when Pat Kennedy was up there and the Illinois coaches were all whispering about recruiting shenanigans going on, and they were really battling over some high-profile kids in the Chicago area, not only for Chicago supremacy, but to make a mark nationally as well. And man, oh man, is that landscape within the state of Illinois changed in those years. DePaul is completely irrelevant. They've gone back to hiring Dave Lato a second time. I mean, who does that? and let's face it, Illinois, their relevance nationally has slipped a lot too. We know about their NCAA tournament drought and so forth, and Northwestern's on the rise. And so everything's kind of jumbled. But I know one thing, if I'm a season ticket holder at State Farm Center, I'd sure as heck rather see a game in November against DePaul than I would against Eastern Michigan or somebody.
Absolutely.
I think that's one you can get excited about. So I welcome that.
Would you welcome Illinois State? I mean, for us, it's something to write about, Mark, and I think the atmosphere would be fun. But do you think Illinois will ever do that?
I don't know. I mean, I would welcome it, but I don't have as much at stake as coaches and, you know, recruiters and so forth and so on. I would welcome it. And I know Brad said that we won't back away from anything, you know, but there's some sense to putting together a schedule where you're not going to accommodate everybody that wants a shot at you. But, you know, I always felt like, you know, back when Lou Henson was the coach and they had the Illini Classic, that had the potential to be something if you, in fact, made it in the Illini Classic. If you made it, you know, 4 teams and you made it Illinois and you made it rotate them, you know, maybe Illinois State one year, maybe Bradley, maybe Northern, maybe DePaul, maybe Salukis, whatever. Yeah. You know, the Northwestern, you know, you already play Northwestern potentially twice and maybe a third time in the Big Ten tournament. I think you can justify not doing that one, but I think that would be really interesting. I think it would draw well, and it certainly creates more interest than some of the non-conference games that we have against schools people just don't feel anything for.
Mark, last one for you. Every May, we get to watch Mike Small, or follow Mike Small's program, and year after year after year, they make the NCAA championships. Here they go again, up in Rich Harvest Farms in state. You know, we can just give Mike Small a little bit of praise here like we always do, but it truly is amazing year after year. All the different players who have come through, young team, old team, he continues to get there. I mean, we've talked about it before. He has a case as maybe one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Illini coach ever.
Oh, my goodness. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's too bad that he plays a sport that's not really conducive to spectator. I know there's going to be some TV coverage and all like that, but very few people are willing to go out and walk the course.
Right.
And it's too bad because it would be exciting. I mean, if they were, and you have a chance here in this event, being fairly close, to go up and do that. And I mean, you get 50 people even out on the course cheering, making noise when guys are dropping putts or hitting the ball in tight to the stick, and it is a pretty cool thing. I hope some people turn out for that and give them some support because what he's done is, man, that's just unbelievable. And like you said, the cast of characters changes all the time. The result never does.
Yeah. He's Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review. Mark, appreciate your time. Hope to see you soon, buddy.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, great stuff as always from Mark Tupper. Talking about the JCL rumors, if it does happen. And I totally agree with him with DePaul. We've talked about it before, but having some kind, I would love to have an Illini Classic every year where Illinois has 2 home games. You know, you have another team come in, every team plays 2 games, and you rotate the characters every year. But having Illinois State, Bradley, Southern, Western can come in and play. I think that'd be fun every year. And I understand the downside of it, but Illinois should beat those teams.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a lot better than hosting SEMO. It's a lot better for fans than hosting those games. It'd be a little bit more fired up. And I just don't like scheduling scared.
I'm trying to think of the last.
And some of those teams, Illinois State could help you with your RPI.
Yeah.
Right? And some of those teams, Southern doesn't hurt you. Just like, SEMO is not going to help you. So I'd rather have those kind of teams and keep the money for those games in state.
Yeah, it's been basically you hope for a Big Ten ACC Challenge game at home, and if you don't get that, you aren't going to have a good home schedule. And even that, sometimes, because you aren't relevant like you used to be, you're not getting North Carolina or Duke. Yeah. You're getting North Carolina State. No offense to them, but that's not going to get the same sort of energy.
Wake Forest probably this year.
Yeah, and it's not Chris Paul Wake Forest. It is current Wake Forest, which isn't as exciting. Speaking of,
who do you think Illinois is going to get?
I would guess. Okay, ACC. Florida State's
Clemson?
Too good. Yeah, some
Georgia Tech
like
again.
Maybe not Clemson because
BC, Boston College.
That sounds about right. They seem to play.
Head out to Boston College for a game.
They seem to play Northwestern every year. Yeah, I think BC sounds about right. I think we are due for a game, home and home.
Pitt?
That'd be cool. But I think Pitt's still, you know what? They struggled last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Illini Classic that Mark referenced, I remember those, the Illini Pepsi Classic. It was every year, early December. 8,000 people made. I mean, this is before it was a huge draw to go to those games. It was post probation and all that. And one night we go in there. It's a Friday night for the Illini Pepsi Classic. Don't even know who they were playing because they always played nobodies in that thing. And someone comes up and taps you on the shoulder, and it is a DIA employee or probably like a college student that was interning or something, and said, "Would you want to participate in our halftime contest?" And I'm like 8, 9. I say, "Sure, what is it?" And they say, "Well, basically you run out to half court and you put on a jersey. It's a full-size jersey. So the whole cuteness factor is these 2 little dudes run to half court, put on a jersey way too big to them, and then run to the other hoop and lay it up."
Take a layup, yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't quite listen to the rules well enough.
Okay.
So I got the first part down. I dribble the ball to half court, and I put on these regular size, Shelley Clark shorts that didn't fit, and the drawstring you have to push all the way out. And
holding up your shorts as you run.
And instead of continuing forward to the hoop, like I should have, I turn back around and go to my hoop. And they were sticklers for rules. So they say, no. And you hear the, 7,000 people or whatever kind of, Price is Right style saying, no, not that one. And then by the time I got down to the other one, the other kid had already made it. But they were very nice.
Did you still shoot your shot?
I still shot my shot. I still made it. I still got the applause.
I wish you made it.
Yeah. And better yet, the prize was a Game Boy.
Ooh.
Yes. But I already had a Game Gear. So they said, well, you can take the Game Boy to Toys R Us and exchange it, and I did for 2 Game Gear games.
Nice.
Yes.
That's
Home Alone.
Nice.
The game. And
I don't think I ever had Game Gear. I had the Game Boy.
Game Gear was
too.
great. Yeah, it was pretty good graphics for little things.
Pokemon back in the day.
Okay, yeah. Are there any handheld things now?
Is
that still a thing?
Yeah, and then they got the VR stuff too.
I got a game on my phone called Balls with a Z.
Not Dragon Ball Z?
Not Dragon Ball Z. Balls with a Z. And the whole point of it is you shoot these balls to these squares that have numbers on it.
Yes, so my buddy was playing that on the Vegas flight.
Oh, my God.
He said he was like addicted to it.
It is so much fun.
It's the simplest game.
The simplest game. And
you
it
just
got
sit there and look at it.
Yeah, it got me to and from Des Moines, no problem.
You point, shoot, and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's all you do.
That's it. Simple. And it's free. So I recommend Balls the game.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Coming up next, we'll talk some Cubs and a little bit of Bears with Chris Emma, 670thescore.com.
Nothing excites me like some Mike Lennon conversation, and we're about to do that next.
It's his year, man.
Mm-hmm. Tay and J Show. Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Beacon Insurance and your local independent agent are committed to providing the best coverage options and the best service possible. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at beaconinsurance.com and on social media. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/Beacon Insurance. It's a great way to learn more about insurance for your auto, home, life, or business. You'll stay up to date with important announcements. Plus, they'll throw in a few fun facts along the way. For beyond the expected information, follow Beacon Insurance on Facebook today.
It's our trip to Wrigley Field, Chicago. We're going to be in the rooftops, and you can come. We'll travel via motor coach to Chicago to the Wrigley Field rooftop in left field. See the Cubs take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 1:20. Rooftop tickets, motor coach, and parking to Chicago, only $199 each. These tickets will sell quickly. All your food and beverages included. Just come by our studios to pay by check. 2702 South Boulder in Urbana, or for complete details and the pay online, visit us at espncu.com. espncu.com.
American Cancer Society's Relay for Life is coming to downtown Champaign on Saturday, June 17th.
Get involved with A-Zip Pizza on June 3rd as you head to campus for their Give Back fundraiser. Team captains will head to the Champaign Library Room C for Bank Night on June 5th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Get in on the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life, June 17th in downtown Champaign's West Side Park.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Adam Schefter just in the last couple of minutes tweeted, NFL overtime expected to be reduced today to 10 minutes from 15 minutes. Quote, it's happening, said one league official. There's two different routes to do it. There's player safety, and then there's competitiveness. So those seem to be some of the thoughts that go into this. What do you think of it?
I have a better solution. No overtime. If there's a tie, it's a tie. If we're really worried about we're going to cut 5 minutes down, thinking that's going to make a difference in what we're trying to accomplish by that, if player safety and the risk and all that and the travel and how competitive it goes, forget overtime. Just put it in the playoffs if you need it. You know, we had games end up in a tie, and guess what? This season's still going to happen. It didn't ruin the season. We've had ties before. So what?
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders here to announce that KFC's new spicy, crispy Zinger chicken sandwich is now available in a $5 fill-up for a limited time. Why? Because who wants to spend $7 on a meal at a burger place when you could spend $5 on a hand-breaded Zinger chicken sandwich, wages, a cookie, and a drink at KFC? I mean, we specialize in chicken. You need another reason? I didn't think so. Try the Zinger in a $5 fill-up at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Limited time offer at participating KFCs. Tax extra.
At Ferguson, service is our most important part. So if service is the part you're missing from your supply house, come into one of our 600 nationwide locations and let our team help yours. Whether it's tracking down those hard-to-find parts, having your order ready and waiting at our will call, or helping you manage your inventory with our SKU app and online ordering, the edge every trade professional needs is right around the corner. And with Ferguson Pro Plus, you'll earn redeemable points with every online purchase. Come into one of our locations or visit Ferguson.com today.
Tuesdays can't get any respect. Every week it's like, I can't believe it's only Tuesday. No one ever asks, how was your Tuesday? But now there is something exciting about Tuesday. The Tune Up Tuesday sale at Sheep Bauer Service Experts.
Get an extra $10 off our lowest sale price on an AC Precision tune-up. That means you'll get a $120 tune-up for only $59 when you book online today at chiefbauer.com. The Tune-Up Tuesday sale at Chief Bauer Service Experts. Take that Saturday.
You buy Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Bring into double points now through the end of May with the Illini Visa Rewards Card and the U of I Community Credit Union. Double points are waiting for you. Now through the end of May, use your Illini Visa Rewards Card on purchases for lawn and garden, sporting goods, nurseries, and home improvement stores and score double points. Plus, you can earn an extra 1,000 bonus points when you use your Illini Visa for 20 or more transactions each month. Use those points to purchase once-in-a-lifetime trips and experiences. Not a member yet? Visit IlliniCard.org today.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
4:30. I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update. Baseball, a battle of aces at Wrigley tonight as John Lester takes on Johnny Cueto and the Giants. It's an early 6:05 first pitch due to the ESPN telecast. You can hear the radio call on our sister station, US 105.9. White Sox in Arizona with Dylan Covey taking on Patrick Corbin for an 8:40 first pitch. Meanwhile, the Cardinals back in action on the West Coast. Lance Lynn takes on the best of his generation, Clayton Kershaw, for a 9:10 first pitch. You can hear it here, loud and clear, on ESPN Radio 93.5. Before the game, the Cardinals called up Tyler Lyons, sent down Sam Tuivala. NBA Warriors rolled the Spurs 129-115 for a Game 4 win and a Western Conference Finals sweep. They've swept their way to the NBA Finals, becoming the first NBA team to start a postseason 12-0. They'll await the winner in the East. The Celtics look to tie up the Cavs tonight in the Eastern Conference Finals Game 4. That's in Cleveland for a 7:30 tip-off. Boston, a 14.5-point underdog. NHL, the Predators advanced to their first Stanley Cup final with a 6-3 Game 6 win over the Ducks. Tonight, the Penguins can clinch their second straight Eastern Conference title with a Game 6 win over Ottawa. The NFL will allow group celebrations and celebrations that include using the ball as a prop. The league still will disallow offensive gestures that include prolonged acts, miming weapons, and sexually suggestive acts. The NFL also reduced regular season overtime to a maximum of 15 minutes to a maximum of 10 minutes. The Bears, Kevin White, he's had an injury-prone career, missed most of his first 2 seasons. He did not participate in workouts today. And quarterback Mike Glennon, despite Mitch Trubisky being selected with the number 2 overall pick by the Bears, said, "This is my year," repeatedly.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. Of course, the news about celebrations in the NFL has a lot of people excited. I know in the first update, Jeremy, you said it went from the no fun league to the
now fun league.
See, you get a CSI Miami.
It's a good dad joke, I thought.
Time to head to the Jupiters of the Crossing phone line to talk a little bit of Bears and, of course, a little bit of Cubs as well with Chris Emma from 670thescore.com. And Chris, Mike Glennon kind of making his presence known, and I'm sure Bears fans everywhere are just super pumped and ready to go after his comments today.
This is Mike Glennon's year, absolutely. He said it over and over in many different ways. I counted 13. The unofficial count for Mike Glennon stating his territory. This is Mike Glennon's year, and everybody else be damned.
Is he notably upset about the Trubisky draft pick?
You know, he can't be, right? Because he signed a deal that was essentially a one-year deal, and he admitted when he first signed it, doing plenty of research on the quarterback situations. And, you know, if you didn't see the writing on the wall that they were going to be looking for a developmental prospect, then I don't know what kind of research he was doing, because everything was there since somewhere around last fall. You know, around November or so, it became more clear that the Bears were going to move on from Jay Cutler. They were going to look for that veteran, but they were going to also try to get that developmental guy. So, and Trubisky was, excuse me, if Glenn was surprised by the selection of a developmental quarterback, then that's on him.
Yeah.
The fact that it was number 2 overall moving up a spot, still get Mitchell Trubisky, that was surprising to everybody, of course. Glenn admitted he was surprised. Everybody outside of Ryan Pace's office was really surprised about that. Most likely the head coach included in a lot of ways. But the reality is the Bears are going to go get their developmental guy, and they have him now in Mitchell Trubisky. Glenn has got an opportunity now to be the starting quarterback in 2017. I'd assume unencumbered in that spot. I don't see Mitchell Trubisky competing this season. John Fox has talked about competition all year long and say different things that really create different images, but this is Mike Glenn's team in 2017. It could be his team in 2018 if he really plays well. That would come against the quarterback competition with Mitchell Trubisky, ideally. So it's going to be very interesting to follow. And today was kind of day one of the most awkward quarterback situation in football.
Yeah, the Bears have kind of done that a lot. He's basically getting $19 million to try out for a bunch of NFL teams. So he kind of knew what he was signing up for. I agree with you, Chris, but he needs some weapons to throw to. And Kevin White, the first pick by Ryan Pace in his first draft, out today. How concerned should we be about that?
We saw him moving around on the field. He was out there present. He had both legs attached, and he seemed to be moving without a noticeable limp. So John Fox didn't do him any favors, though, because John Fox could have come out and said, it's wet outside. We're just trying to be as cautious as we possibly can. If that was the case, then say that. If Kevin White still needs a little bit more time to kind of get his legs to full strength, then just say that. But to leave the mystery out there for all kinds of speculation, you're doing a good kid who's worked hard. There's no favors at all. So that's not John Fox. And if I'm Kevin White, I'm pretty ticked off right now because so begins the questions and the concerns to Kevin White's future now entering a third season. It's May. Unless there's something dramatic going on to his leg that wasn't quite seen out there, he's going to be ready for training camp. He's going to be ready for week 1, barring something else coming up. But a little bit of transparency would have been nice, but you don't really get that too much from John Fox.
Chris, as you were talking about John Fox, it just hit me that I have Fox fatigue. And he's just
kind of like, why is he still here?
Yeah, there's no point. If he had a team that was ready to win, a veteran team, sure, that kind of makes sense. But I don't know. From my perspective as a fan, I got Fox fatigue. From your perspective as a media guy, he's not listening.
Man, remember the days of Tressman? Yeah, it was great.
Is there any? Do you, as a journalist, ever have? I mean, I guess frustration could be one word for it. That whenever you guys ask something, there's never seems to really be a forthright answer.
Yes, that's the way it's been for now 2 years, entering a third with John Fox. He tries to keep things as concealed as possible. He runs a tight ship. I mean, to put it in perspective, as we were in the media room reporting on different things, Packers beat reporters were putting out the exact 2 deep for starting positions, and there are all kinds of regulations that strictly prohibit any kind of information similar to that from the Bears' end. John Fox likes to keep a really tight ship and keep information within Hallis Hall. When you ask him a question, he's going to go out of his way to not give a thorough answer, really any kind of answer. It's just the way that he's operated. He acts with secrecy. From a media perspective, it's extremely frustrating because you have questions that you really never do get answered. Ultimately, if you win, then you can kind of get away with this, and the act that he puts on is a little bit more, Belichickian, to use that word. But, Bill Belichick has a bunch of Super Bowl rings that John Fox has done, so it doesn't work quite that way, but that's the way that he operates as a veteran coach, and ultimately, he's got a lot to prove this season because he's entering year 3 of a 4-year deal with a 9-23 record.
He's Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. Follow him on Twitter at CEmma670. The Cubs lose the opener to the Giants last night. Joe Panik went off last night against John Lackey. Is the rotation your biggest concern with this team still?
I think it's got to be. I mean, the bats will be fine. Joe Maddon said that. From his perspective, he talks about the deep-heat, and the defense has not been all that great. It's clearly above replacement level right now, is collectively. So they've got some major issues defensively. I pin a little bit of that at just kind of different circumstances early in the year. I don't think that's really a reflection on this team defensively, where you have gold glove players and really talented young guys. But you look at the rotation here, and you got some veterans. I mean, John Lackey got hit hard again, and outside of that one start in Colorado, he's really struggled. John Lester's been solid. Kyle Hendricks was really kind of rounded back to that form and looking again like that guy who led the league in ERA last year. But Jake Arrieta, I mean, he's been kind of stressing for strong starts, and his mechanics are all out of whack right now. It's reflecting upon his performances. The velocity being down is certainly a concern, and you see him really struggle with that command to go deep into a game where he's stretching so hard to try to get through 6 innings. And Jake Arrieta just has not been that same guy that we've seen, certainly not from 2015, but even not to last year's level, where he was a guy really stepping it up late in the postseason and helping the Cubs win a World Series. So that's the issue. And then, of course, you look at the 5th starter spot, and Eddie Butler has zero command right now. You saw that going through 60-something pitches through 2 innings a couple of days ago. Mike Montgomery might be that answer, but they're worried about the options out of the bullpen. He's strong against left-handers. And Brett Anderson is supposed to be coming back soon. Perhaps his 2 just atrocious starts were related to the injury that popped up. Maybe the injury was just kind of a convenient way to shut him down. I guess we'll find out. But really, when you look at this Cubs rotation, you have 2 guys who have been very good. You have 2 veterans in Arrieta and Lackey who have struggled. And then you have a 5th starter spot that's been up in the air. And you might see that answer before the trade deadline.
Chris, last one for you. They finally moved Kyle Schwarber out of that leadoff role and put Ben Zobrist up there. Do you think that's permanent?
I do. Joe Madden said at some point he's going to get Schwarber back in the leadoff spot, but that might just be when Ben Zobrist takes a day off. If it was me, I do like, I might have said on your show before, the idea of Schwarber in that leadoff spot, because he does give you most of the time a very good at-bat, and he does get on base, and he's a tough way to start any ball game, but he's also a guy who's kind of going through his rookie season in a way when you consider his experience or lack thereof. I probably would have moved him down to the 5th spot in the order and kind of let him get settled into the season. I think putting him in the leadoff spot might have had a little bit of a mental effect where he kind of throws off his game a little bit. So I think it's going to be beneficial for Schwarber to get out of this spot and to kind of settle into his first full season in the big leagues.
Chris Emma from 670thescore.com, talking a little bit of Bears and Cubs, and I'm sure we'll be talking really soon, Chris. After all, Mike Glennon is a topic that we continually come back on the Tay and J Show. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's his year. Mike Glennon's here.
That's right. Hey, what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't, Carp?
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. What if Mike Glennon has a big year?
Well, he won't, but
we can trade him for a second-round pick like the Patriots did with Matt Castle.
Sure. He could be a valuable piece that you could trade, but I have never been this apathetic about the Bears.
Neither have I, man. It's transferred to our NFL intake. I think ESPN, kind of beats the NFL out of me anyway, just because that's all they talk about.
That's actually a perfect metaphor. It really does just pummel you with NFL stuff nonstop.
I really don't need to talk about a backup quarterback in May or April.
Yeah,
I really don't need to talk about those things. But they're huge topics. I'm more interested in baseball or hockey. There's good stuff going on there, but the backup quarterback situation at for Jimmy Garoppolo or, I get Colin Kaepernick. That's a little bit of a topic given that he's been very outspoken. But I'm really not all that interested in hearing about Colin Kaepernick every week until training camp.
Yeah, there's only so many angles of that.
Yeah, it's come on. There's other things going on in sports that people want to talk about.
Yeah.
I get the NFL fatigue, but I do think a huge part of it is I'm just so disinterested in the Bears, and I think John Fox is part of that. Losing's a big part of it, but I got to say, the Trubisky pick has me a lot more intrigued. When he takes snaps in preseason, I'll probably watch.
Yeah, that's a good point. Intrigue is the right word.
When he I'll watch because of Mike Glennon, see what he's got, and then when Trubisky's in there, though, I'm locked in because is he the franchise quarterback? We won't learn that in the first year.
No,
but I'm intrigued by it because we at least went for it.
That's true.
If we had Jamal Adams, that's great. I'm not that much more interested in the Bears because of Jamal Adams.
Well, I think as a Bears fan, it's hard not to, and I think Illinois fandom has a little bit of this, but not to the same degree. The Bears historically are losers. They just don't. We can pick the individual seasons, right? And we can probably count on one hand the individual seasons.
Well, and you and I, especially our lifetimes, and that's why I always joke that 85 was a long time ago. was 2 years before I was born.
32
Like, they were in the
years
Super
ago.
Bowl a year before I was born. And I'm 30 years old. I'm not that young. I'm younger, but I'm not that young. It's been a long time since they were a proud franchise. Now, Lovie Smith, they had some nice years. They made the playoffs 3 times in 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I now long for those days. Right? I long for Lovie Smith coaching my Bears.
Well, because when they were not making the playoffs, usually you could say, well, it was this game or it was that game. But
the problem with those teams is they didn't have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And,
well,
right? I mean, that was the big issue, is like,
you're right.
They didn't have the quarterback, and then Jay Cutler got in here. That's why it was really intriguing. And in 2010, they make that little run there. They won 1 playoff game. But that was really intriguing to see if it would work out, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
So I at least give them credit that they went for it.
You know, it's funny, that 2010 game, because you went to the Packers-Bears game. Yeah. Did you think the Bears were going to win that one? I didn't either.
No, because Aaron Rodgers was across the field.
Yeah.
And, the Bears had a great defense, and Jay Cutler got way too much grief for that game, for him leaving, because he couldn't stand on his right leg, basically. But, that was disappointing because it felt like that was our chance, and they were one step away from a second Super Bowl in 4 years.
Think about this. The last Bears game that had a lot of interest to me would have been, let's see, I want to say December 2013, final game of the year. Packers-Bears at Soldier Field, Trestman's first year as Bears head coach. And you had them dead to rights. You just needed a 4th and 20-yard stop.
Remember, that's where we thought Trestman might actually work out?
Yeah.
And then the next year was just a complete embarrassment.
And somehow that team, his second team, I think, went 5-11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they got 5 wins. I remember after they beat...
Like a point differential of minus 150.
But if you take those 3 games out, where they lost by 50 points each, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
No, but I remember early on that season, they went out to San Francisco, and people still thought that Kaepernick was like the guy. Yeah. Kyle Fuller was all-pro as a rookie.
Man.
And then it just...
made us forget about missing Aaron Donald.
Well, yeah, that. And then also I think Tillman had just retired, so we thought, wow, we got our new cornerback of the...
Those are the days.
They really were.
Those are the days.
The only thing I long for, this is last year, on Sundays, I go get my porgies. That's my thing. My half chicken from Porgies. And I'd come back, and the Bears game would be on. But habitually, I started falling asleep. And I'm not saying that to be coy or make a joke. It's just that I actually was falling asleep. And that became my new Bears tradition. It's nap time.
Yeah.
Which there are worse traditions.
That's nice.
But you know what I miss?
Nice little Sunday.
I miss going to Porgies a little bit earlier so I could get back and make a nice big mixed diet and captain and get pumped for the game. And instead now I'm just like, I'd rather take a nap. That's just not as much fun.
Well, now we'll be rooting for Mike Glennon to lose games, and for Mitch Trubisky to come in late in the season, show some promise. Bears get a top 5 pick, so they can add a top receiver, offensive lineman, or something like that. So Trubisky's got someone to throw to.
Yes, and then Ryan Pace goes and gets his young phenom of a coach,
which he should have just done this year.
He should have done. There's no reason
if you know you're going to go after Trubisky and you're going to get him, because he was set on getting him. Go get your quarterback, guru. No matter who it is.
I give Chris and the other guys up there that follow the Bears, they have to cover them on a regular basis, a lot of credit. I would not have that kind of patience to cover John Fox.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, that's 217-359-2255. You can weigh in on the Jupiter's Crossing phone line or text us on the Chief Power text line.
It is the Tay and J Show.
It's our trip to Wrigley Field, Chicago. We're going to be in the rooftops, and you can come. We'll travel via motor coach to Chicago to the Wrigley Field rooftop in left field. See the Cubs take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 1:20. Rooftop tickets, motor coach, and parking to Chicago, only $199 each. These tickets will sell quickly. All your food and beverages included. Just come by our studios to pay by check. 2702 South Boulder in Urbana, or for complete details and the pay online, visit us at espncu.com. espncu.com.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your Trane comfort specialist. Right now is a great time to buy a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. For a limited time only, we're offering 0% interest for 6 years. That's no interest with equal payments and approved credit for 6 years on any qualifying Trane system. Or, here's another way you can save on a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. Trade in your old system. For a limited time, you can get a $1,000 trade-in allowance on any qualifying Trane system. So pick your best deal. No interest for 6 years or a $1,000 trade-in allowance and start saving. Call 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands for program details. Call 888-653-0051 for details about credit costs and terms. Regular APR is 28.99 for newly opened accounts. APR may vary, subject to credit approval.
At Busey, we are dedicated to enhancing and preserving your financial future, simplifying the complexities around your finances while maximizing the opportunities available to you. Whatever your dream, our wealth management team can guide you through every important financial decision. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations for solutions to your banking and wealth management needs. Busey, your dream, our promise.
I'm Jay Lehman, and as a former college and professional athlete, I love Saladmeister. Why? Because it's guilt-free food. Not only is Saladmeister healthy and affordable, but it's also safe for the environment. From their bowls and forks to their lighting and equipment, Saladmeister uses only green products. But the best part is that it tastes so good, you forget it's good for you.
Saladmeister, the masters of salad creation, now open in Champaign.
Mosquitoes can be a nuisance, and after a mild winter like we had, they're even worse. Let Prairie View Landscaping get rid of those pesky mosquitoes so you can enjoy the summer outdoors without bugs getting in the way. And since it's Prairie View Landscaping's 25th year in business, they're celebrating by offering up to 25% off their mosquito program. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. And if you sign up by May 31st, you can win 2 free mosquito control applications out of 4. Prairie View Landscaping, mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
This is Chuck Lee with Provident Financial Group. Are you sure you're on track to reach your retirement goals? Wondering how much money you'll need to last your lifetime? Whether you're retiring in a few weeks or a few years, we can analyze your needs and create a plan that's right for you. Securities and advisory services are through Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What'll he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warner. What a quick show. It's already 4:51.
Yeah. Got drive time next hour and then a very open hour if you want to weigh in at 359-2255. So it's fun to watch you now start Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So you and your fiance are what, in season 2?
Midway through season 2. Yeah. And I'm not into the whole fantasy genre, which is kind of weird because I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Technically, that's a fantasy in space. But Lord of the Rings, I watch them. I respect what great storytelling that is.
Yeah,
but,
I'm all into Lord of the Rings.
But those worlds don't naturally grab me.
Yeah.
And
like comic books don't grab me as much. Like the Batman did because it was so gritty. Mm-hmm. But I'm not into the comic books. I do get into, Star Wars I loved. I'm one of the few people that really say I loved Avatar. Like, I think that movie is phenomenal. Everyone kind of bags on it.
It's well constructed, but it hasn't lasted with me.
It was just entertaining as heck to me, which is kind of the point of movies. But Lord of the Rings, I'm all in on. I thought those were phenomenally written and well done for such a huge task.
So
the first 2 Hobbits were pretty solid. The third one sucked.
And I'll be honest, I love British people, but the whole British accent, we must have a British accent in these sort of fantasy novels. Yeah. That always kind of bothered me.
It can't just be like an Ohio accent.
It can't just be like, hey, Khaleesi, yo, come on, what's going on here? You got the dragons. What am I going to do with the dragons? What do I feed a dragon? I don't know. So
that'd be awesome to have like a Brooklyn accent on one of those guys.
And then like everyone
Tyrion
else
walks in.
All the other people with British accents, they stay straight faced. Like they're totally. It's totally normal for this Jersey guy to just walk in.
Now there are some like Spanish style accents.
A little bit,
in there eventually.
And they're the sort of like exotic ones.
And there are some
that was not Spanish at all.
Yeah, there are some like Asian style. Like there's a little bit difference, but there is
starting to get more diverse. Yeah.
There is no American accent.
No American accent, and I get it. It's in the old world,
the old school,
the old kingdoms, the 7 kingdoms. But no, so far I'm very intrigued, and there are probably 3 to 4 moments every episode where you're like, that is bad.
It only gets better. It only gets better. So you've watched a lot of TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have a kid, I don't get to watch a lot, but we're both watching Better Call Saul.
Yes.
Which is amazing. But what is like the top one? Do you have like a top 5 list? Like, do you guys kind of work down of the TV shows you need to watch?
For me, number 1's The Sopranos. It's still unsurpassed.
But I'm saying ones you gotta watch.
Oh, ones I have to watch. Oh, I see.
Like for me, I started watching when my wife was pregnant, which is dumb because I'm not going to have enough time to watch it.
Yeah.
The Wire.
Yeah, that one would be number 1 for me. I've already seen 4 of the 5 seasons, so I'm almost there. But I would totally go back and do that again from the top.
It's such a daunting series to kind of take on.
But it is very rewarding.
It's so big. There's so many seasons of it. But I do hear it might be the best show ever. So that is definitely number 1 on
I'd say
list.
completing that's number 1. I've heard Billions is awesome.
Yes.
And
we're talking about Damian Lewis as a possible Bond. He is unbelievable in Band of Brothers, and you add Paul Giamatti to that.
Love Paul Giamatti.
Those 2 characters or actors alone drag me into that.
He got his break playing Pig Vomit in the Howard Stern movie.
Yes.
That was his first big role, and he was so good in that he's been well known ever since.
You've seen Breaking Bad.
Love Breaking Bad. Number 2 for me behind The Sopranos.
You're into Black Mirror, right?
Yeah, there's actually a couple more I have to watch from the most recent season.
Have you gotten into House Cards yet?
I haven't gotten into House of Cards. I made a bad decision of turning it on and not paying attention the first episode.
Yeah.
So about midway through, I just kind of
I think you'd love it. I would say you have to suspend reality, but I'm not sure that's true anymore.
No, I think I've heard people say that.
The real life is the best season of House of Cards right now.
And
I saw people say that.
Kevin Spacey, I'm a big Kevin Spacey fan.
And what's the actress's name?
Robin Wright Penn.
She is unbelievable.
Or is she just Robin Wright again? I don't know if she's married.
I think it's Robin, but she is unbelievable.
No, but it seems like Showtime is really kind of up the ante here.
I tried to get into The West Wing. I think I watched most of the first season. There's just so many episodes. There's like 20-something episodes per season.
I know what I'm going to go back and watch. We were up in Iowa at a cousin of mine graduated from high school, and we get back to the hotel on Sunday, and I'm trying to find something to watch, see the Celtics win, and then I'm like, oh, right, Twin Peaks is starting up again on Showtime. I've seen most of the first season of that on Netflix. Very cool stuff, a little bit out there, but I would totally go back now, watch all Twin Peaks, even though I've heard in the second season it gets a little weird.
Have you done Mad Men?
It's well done. I don't think I would get sucked into that.
See, but I think it would appeal to you because it's very subtle, very slow moving, and very artsy. That just seems right up your alley, Carp.
Yes, but what's weird is that time period, for whatever reason, sort of like how I mentioned the fantasy genre, and Game of Thrones is grabbing me, but that Mad Men, for whatever reason, that kind of Americana doesn't excite me as much.
The one show I wish had more seasons was Freaks and Geeks.
Heard that's great.
There's like 18 episodes of it. I watched that pretty quick. It's great.
Pretty star-studded cast. Judd Apatow. That was
Little
his
did
first
we know
thing.
then. Yeah.
Other than that, though, no. I mean,
I'm not going to get into The Walking Dead. That's not my thing.
No, mine either.
Friday Night Lights is phenomenal, even if you're not a football fan.
I would put that up there. Bloodline, I've heard is really good too, with the coach in that one.
If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. We've got Drive Time coming up next.
We'll talk some more James Bond in the 5 o'clock hour, kind of a grab bag of everything, and we might even do a meat draft. We were talking about that. We're going to do a draft of some kind.
Got to figure out the topic, though.
But for now, I'm going to go and play some balls on my phone, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
Check Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
You buy Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Bring into double points now through the end of May with the Illini Visa Rewards Card and the U of I Community Credit Union. Double points are waiting for you. Now through the end of May, use your Illini Visa Rewards Card on purchases for lawn and garden, sporting goods, nurseries, and home improvement stores and score double points. Plus, you can earn an extra 1,000 bonus points when you use your Illini Visa for 20 or more transactions each month. Use those points to purchase once-in-a-lifetime trips and experiences. Not a member yet? Visit IlliniCard.org today.
You buy Community Credit Union for campus and community.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. A day after the terror attack on a concert in Manchester that killed 22 and injured dozens.
It is now concluded, on the basis of today's investigations, that the threat level should be increased for the time being from severe to critical.
British Prime Minister Theresa May says another attack may be imminent. Police will be deploying armed military personnel to support their officers.
You might also see military personnel deployed at certain events, such as concerts and sports matches, helping the police to keep the public safe.
Prime Minister May says the suicide bomber in Manchester may have been part of a larger network. Survivors of the concert hall bombing say screening before the show was not adequate, some even describing it as haphazard. Thousands participated in a vigil in Manchester.
Mank, as we call ourselves, and that's come and show support to all these families that have been tragically, in tragedy and in mourning, and to say to the people who are doing this, you'll never win.
Engineer Paul Maynard attended the vigil with his daughter. Many of the victims of the concert attack were children. President Trump will visit with Pope Francis in the Vatican tomorrow.
No doubt that attack in Manchester will be one of the issues that the Pope and the President discuss tomorrow. But there's been a lot of curiosity about how this meeting will ultimately go because the Pope and the President are different on so many issues.
Fox's Amy Kellogg. A major issue of contention is the president's proposed border wall. The Senate Intelligence Committee plans to subpoena two of former security advisor Michael Flynn's businesses. Flynn has said he would plead the fifth concerning the Russia investigation. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security. An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
Here's a little ditty about that John Deere mower deck that mows faster, better. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. If you just mow fast but your yard looks bad, then you got a lot of ugly grass. You need a John Deere to take care of your yard. You need a Z-Track Z3 45R. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. The XL deck's got more capacity for yards like yours that get to grassity. Want to mow well in a higher gear? See a John Deere dealer, nothing runs like a deer.
The White House is proposing a budget that's described as an exercise in fiscal discipline. It aims to get the nation's debt under control, but that's not how many Democrats see it.
This is a budget that is immoral and that will cause an enormous amount of pain
for the most vulnerable people in our nation. This is a budget that will be rejected by the American people and must not see the light of day.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, the budget would cut many social programs, including Medicaid and food stamps. The president's budget would have an impact on NASA.
NASA gets $500 million less under President Trump's new budget. It means the space agency will make cuts to some of its science and outreach programs, but its most famous missions are still going to be funded, including the International Space Station.
The ISS continues to be kind of our jumping off point. This is our linchpin, right? This is our low Earth orbit stronghold.
Robert Lightfoot, the acting NASA director, also included his money to further an eventual human mission to Mars. NASA's entire proposed budget is just over $19 billion. Eben Brown, Fox News.
At least a dozen small planes have been severely damaged after 50-mile-an-hour winds struck a municipal airport in northern Texas. Seattle Seahawks icon Cortez Kennedy has died in Orlando at the age of 48.
And if you know this Cortez Kennedy, there's not a better person on the planet. He's that kind of guy. He cares about people. But when he put that helmet on, you just wish you had him on your team. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame player.
John Gruden, former NFL coach and current ESPN commentator. Orlando police are not releasing information about the circumstances of Kennedy's death, but say there's nothing suspicious. An investigation is underway. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
We figured it all out. During that break, we figured it all out. Might be our best draft idea yet.
I think so. We'll tease it. We'll let you know what it is, but we do have a great draft coming up here in the 5 o'clock hour.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Trust the experts at Chief Bauer Service Experts to keep you cool all spring and summer long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. By the way, we're almost done with these Cheez-It white cheddar grooves.
So good.
Tonight, chance of rain, low 54. Wednesday, chance of rain as well, high 67, low 54. Thursday, overcast, high 70, low 55. Right now, overcast, scattered showers, 66 in Champaign-Urbana. It is drive time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com. Mike Carpenter, this is where we recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show.
And we started with the word around the campfire, a rumor, if you will, but it was something we couldn't avoid. A lot of rumblings about a potential move with Illinois basketball.
Yeah, we talked about it with Mark Tupper as well, Decatur Herald and Review, and that the rumor is, and I've heard this is a distinct possibility, so I'm okay putting it out there, but there is nothing officially yet. It has not happened quite yet, that Jalen Coleman-Lands could be on his way out, transfer out of Illinois. Again, nothing concrete, and it was really tough for us to figure out how do we approach this, but I know everyone's talking about it out there. The rumor is out there. And obviously this would be, Carp, short-term, a big loss for Illinois in 2017-18 because he's the one player returning on this roster who's averaged double digits in a game. I think he's one of the best shooters in the Big Ten, and I think he could be a nice fit in this system alongside the rest of the guards you have.
There's no way to sugarcoat it if you end up losing Jalen Coleman-Lands, especially as it relates to this team. But going forward, the one thing that does excite me, and whether it be Jalen Coleman-Lands or any sort of attrition, if you're trying to take a positive out of roster attrition, is that you are thrusting these young guys immediately into a role where they are going to be the focal point of this offense, namely Mark Smith. And then the guy who, I don't want to say is forgotten about, but especially with all the attention towards Mark Smith, Trent Frazier has an immediate role on this team. Not that he didn't already, but his role would certainly increase with Jalen Coleman-Lands if he's not here.
And Tijon Lucas. I mean, those are three very talented players at the guard positions that you feel are going to be pretty good next year. Trent will have to see. I think Mark Smith will make an immediate impact. I think he'll probably lead Big Ten freshmen in scoring next year. And this staff seems to really like Tijon Lucas. And credit John Gross for taking him. Right, and taking him before Charlie Moore, because I think he's going to be a very good player. But I think it's more important you add a guy like Mark All-Stork on the wing to play that three now, and he's probably even a better fit than what Jalen Coleman-Lands is. Yeah. But long-term, it feels like you're sitting pretty well with some guards as well in the next class. You know, Ayo Dosunmu could play a lot of point guard for you, lead guard. If you're able to land him, that'd be huge. But Taylor Horton-Tucker kind of fits in that three spot, right? I mean, you got three good lead guard options, you feel like, for the future. It's more about adding some nice pieces around them. And I think two of those guys can play together. Then you get a three-man. Maybe you get Tim Finke as well. So you feel pretty good about long-term where you're sitting with the guards. But just for 2017-18, if you lost JCL, you're down to 8 scholarship players. And that puts a lot of pressure to land Mark Ostork, or if you don't land him, to land some bodies. And another guy that gets thrown into here is the one guy we thought would transfer. That's Aaron Jordan.
Yeah.
And I know his
patience pays off.
I know his ceiling is limited, but I do like that he knows what his role is. And on this next team, it's even more clear.
Yeah.
D up somebody, and he does that well, and hit threes.
Yeah.
Hit open threes, and that's what we got to see from him next year. Is he's got to hit open shots and get them, and I think he's going to get a lot of them in this offense.
Yeah, which you think he's capable of. I mean, those two things in particular.
He's got that
defense,
weird release.
Making threes. But I have to say, and Mark Tupper hit on this, I think he alluded to the fact that Jalen Coleman lands. There's a little bit of kind of a mysterious nature about him. A little bit. He didn't use the word distant, but there is certain you can't quite put your finger on him as far as what his role was, personality-wise, within the team. Young guy, so not that anyone expected him to immediately be a leader or anything like that. But I just wonder if part of the contribution towards him maybe electing to make a change would be that culturally it just wasn't quite the fit. And then I also wonder just how much of a fit it was to begin with, because if this happens to go down, if he happens to leave here after 2 years, that's going to be one of the more kind of confusing, head-scratching guys that came in here with pretty high expectations, and yet you look back and think, well, what happened?
Yeah, the injuries happen. I don't think those have helped. I thought last year when that hand injury happened, I'm like, dang, I think that's big for him because he kind of limited the offseason time to add to his game. And the one thing I'm really disappointed about, and I was disappointed about this with Kendrick Nunn, is their lack of focus on defense.
Yeah.
And that's one thing Brad Underwood is definitely going to drill in the guards. He wants them to get into him. He wants an intensity. He wants a definite kind of attitude. And I hadn't seen that from Jalen Coleman-Lands quite yet. I've seen it from Kipper. I've seen it from Tejon Lucas. I think he'll get it out of Mark Smith. We'll see. I think DeMonte Williams, that's the one thing I'm going to want to watch. And he's going to play a bigger role now, too.
Has to.
He's going to have to play at some point. Get into people. Have that defensive attitude, DeMonte, because that's how you're going to get on the court. But, Jalen, that's kind of where I didn't see it. And then I just don't know if he's going to turn into that player and get to the free throw line a lot.
No.
That's going to attack the hoop. And that's okay. He was just going to be, if he's a three-point sharpshooter, he's also got to get into people on defense. It felt like at times, Carp, as much as he added on offense, he might have taken away more on defense. Right?
I remember many times, especially his freshman year, when you're watching these young guys and trying to key in on them and see their development and say, man, this is going to be the guy. This is going to be the guy.
It's a big offseason for him.
Well, and then, he would hit a three, and then you'd come right back down, and get lost in a screen or something like that, and then the opponent would. So there were many times like that, a few frustrating moments on the court. By all accounts, a great kid and a super smart kid.
Yeah.
Which I thought that academically...
School of business.
Yeah, I thought that was a good fit for him, too.
And it sounds like it could be DePaul if he does transfer out. Shane Hireman pulling in talent there if he's able to get that. But JCL is a loss. We can poke holes in his game, all that.
No, it's a loss.
I mean, that'd be a big loss if this ends up being the case. So hopefully we'll hear back soon. We've reached out to Illinois, all that. So haven't heard anything yet, but a lot of people think it's likely to happen. We also talked to Chris Emma about the Cubs and Bears. Mike Glennon said 13, 14 times, this is my year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great year.
Can I be honest? I don't like Mike Glennon.
He's already lost you. He gets booed at the first pitch, the Cubs game.
Now I don't like him as a person all that much.
He's kind of awkward looking.
He's awkward anyways, and his name's Mike. Like, even sometimes someone's name doesn't inspire confidence in you. Like, Mike Glennon is such hi, I'm Mike Glennon. I'm Chief Financial Operator at Higginson and Watertown.
Tom Brady is a strong American name.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo sounds like a star, right?
Mike Glennon. Not doing it for me. But,
Mike's a good start, but Glennon.
I appreciate the confidence, or the, I don't know if confidence is the right word.
Will you root for Mike Glennon this year?
I don't really care. If he suffers, I'll laugh at his misfortune. I'm at that point with the Bears.
Poor Mike Glennon. He never had a shot.
No, he didn't.
But he's making $19 million.
Because what you do as a fan is, I think you project, after a signing like that, right? You project all of your frustrations at the franchise proper on this one guy.
Yeah.
Because, of course, we're in a position as a team where this is a move that actually makes sense.
So Carp is probably hoping Mike Glennon is that sacrificial lamb that gets crushed by the fans, is so bad, that when Mitch Trubisky comes in and is average early in his career, we're loving him. Right?
Sure.
Because he's better than Mike Glennon.
Yeah. I just, there's not a lot for me to hold on to with the Chicago Bears in terms of getting excited.
Trubisky excites me. No, even if he stinks.
You said the word intrigue. I think intrigue is where I'd go more than excite.
It excites me that the Bears went all in on a quarterback. I like that Ryan Pace, not all in, but he invested in the one position that matters instead of just playing it safe, which the Bears always seem to do.
True.
He said, I think this guy's special. I'm going to put my career on the line for him. That excites me. That he's that excited to draft this guy number 2, trade up for him to see what it is, but we're probably not going to know for another 2 years just to see if he is that kind of guy. I mean, it's probably going to take 4 years because Jameis Winston, I think, is so good.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota, I think, is really good. But even those guys, I mean, there's steps in progress. So it's a long way away for the Bears.
Exactly. And because of what's come before the last 3-4 seasons, and you're thinking, oh, my God, I have to wait until 2020 to get excited about this team again. And there's so much work to be done on that roster, and I don't know. It's just hard for me to even feign interest right now.
Golden State Warriors advanced to their 3rd straight NBA Finals. The Heat advanced to 4 straight, of course. But will you be are you a fan of the Warriors? Like, do you root for them?
No.
They've kind of become the bad boys, right? They've kind of become what the Heat.
The problem is they're not bad so much as they are just kind of. I'm trying to explain. You have the bad boy in Draymond Green, right? You have the enforcer. He's the bad dude. Steph Curry's not a bad dude. Klay Thompson, no. Kevin Durant, one of the nicest guys in the NBA by most counts, right? I think that the Kevin Durant thing, and when it happened, if we're strictly talking championships and that's what matters, you cannot fault someone for going and trying to get that ring because that is what they will be remembered by. But I do think that especially when you look back on when LeBron joined the Heat and this idea of a super team, and then all the playoffs leading up to this, where there has been no drama whatsoever in the NBA playoffs apart from the Celtics-Wizards series, but who really cared about that ultimately? That this is sort of the straw that broke the camel's back on the Warriors zipping right through it, as I expected many did, and now you just have a team so loaded that how could you not win a championship?
Yeah. And if they don't, and LeBron beats them,
the only I shouldn't say the only story. The far bigger story, of course, is LeBron beating them again with Kevin Durant. If Golden State wins it with Kevin Durant, it's not so much a big deal as it is, well, that's what they were supposed to do. And not that the NBA hasn't had that before, but there's just something not quite as, I don't know, they don't carry the same gravitas as a lot of those great championship teams, the Warriors. To me, they don't. They don't. To me, personality-wise, there's something that does not grab me about that team.
So the Heat did? The Lakers did?
Because I think the Heat had the sort of antagonist thing going on.
Yeah.
And the Warriors, you could say that people hate them, but they don't really hate them for anything more than them.
They seem like, I mean, besides Draymond, they're all pretty easy to root for. The one thing about the Warriors is how dominant they are and how fun they are to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that offense is so fun to watch. But the fact that Durant joined them, it just feels cheaper to a lot of people, like the Heat were. But if LeBron's able to beat them, the Cavs are able to beat them, man.
That's the story. And that's why, just like last year, I'm rooting for the story.
I root for that because then it's like no one can debate LeBron's greatness. So everyone wants to, he's not Jordan, whatever. If he beats the Warriors again in this Warriors team with Durant, that is, I mean, those are two of the most impressive NBA Finals victories we've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's Drive Time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, visit their huge inventory at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit them online at drivechampaign.com.
We have a draft coming up.
We'll talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll tease it. Memorial Day is coming up. It is related to that. It is the Tay and J Show.
Need new tires? How would you like to save $200 on a set of 4 select Goodyear tires? Right now at CarX Tire and Auto, get up to $200 in savings when you purchase a set of 4 Goodyear tires and use the CarX Drive Card credit card. Your Champaign CarX man has the right tires for your vehicle at any of his 3 convenient locations. And now up to $200 off. Stop in, call, or schedule online at CarX.com.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
See store for details.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. that lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by the guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. From Charlotte, here's Dari Noka.
What a scene. A team not necessarily more skilled than its opponent, but hot at the right time. Working and working and working, and now is 4 wins from a league championship. Come on, no, I'm not talking about the Warriors. We lost them at not necessarily more skilled than its opponent. I'm talking about the group of men who have turned the Music City into a Southern hockey heaven. How about those Nashville Predators? Bridgestone Arena was electric again. It has been all playoffs. Actually, it has been all season. I was at a Preds game in November against Dallas, and the place was rocking. When the NHL decided to give cities south of the Mason-Dixon line a shot, sure, there are places that it didn't work. Atlanta came and went. Nobody noticed. Florida and Carolina can't draw flies most of the time, but Nashville has worked. Tampa Bay has too. The Lightning have had their time to shine. A couple of Stanley Cup finals so far, 1 title. Now, the Preds get their shot. If you haven't paid attention, you should. A Preds-Pens Cup final might match Warriors Cavs for excitement, regardless of how they compare in TV ratings. In 60 seconds, okay, Kevin Durant.
You gotta love saving up to 50% off. And the Dell Memorial Day sale delivers massive deals. Dell definitely didn't hold back on the savings, and they have such an amazing selection. You can score the latest Dell PCs with Intel processors, gorgeous Samsung TVs, or maybe you're after Bose Audio or a Google Home and Nest bundle. Shop big Memorial Day deals by visiting Dell.com/Memorial Day or call 800-BUY-DELL. The clock is ticking down. It's all on the line for the relentless pursuit of perfection. Tissot Swiss Watches delivers the precision and accuracy expected in your timepiece. This is playoff time. This is winning time. This is your time. Tissot, official watch of the NBA playoffs. Now available at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, and Jared.com.
Wasn't it Rihanna who said it? This is what you came for? Kevin Durant, here you go. Your ship jumping for an easy road to a title has landed you right where you want to be. 4 games from that ring you decided that you'd never get in Oklahoma. You jumped to a team that doesn't really need you, yet you knew that July 4th when you went there anyway. So, as I see it, there's only one way you will get the acclaim you likely need. Be the man in these NBA Finals. Don't be a contributor. Be the lead dog. Not Steph, not Clay, not Draymond. You. When it's over, we all need to sit here and say, man, I don't know if the Warriors would have won it all without KD. If we can do that, you get off the hook. If you're anything less than the man, you haven't proven a single thing. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Dari Noka.
This is Chuck Lee with Provident Financial Group. Are you sure you're on track to reach your retirement goals? Wondering how much money you'll need to last your lifetime? Whether you're retiring in a few weeks or a few years, we can analyze your needs and create a plan that's right for you. Securities and advisory services are with the Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call Matex Heating and Cooling to take advantage of Train's Weather Any Season Sale. Weather Any Season Sale. Choose between special financing for 6 years or special trade-in allowances on qualifying Train systems. Call 355-9700 or visit us online at mattexservice.com for more information. It's hard to stop a train. Any season, any weather. Matex Heating and Cooling, servicing East Central Illinois.
Subject to credit approval. Call for details.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
5:23, I'm Jeremy Warner with your Sports Center update. A big one, a battle of aces at Wrigley Field tonight as John Lester takes on Johnny Cueto and the Giants. It's an early 6:05 first pitch due to the ESPN telecast, but you can hear the radio call on our sister station, US 105.9. White Sox are in Arizona with Dylan Covey taking on Patrick Corbin. That's an 8:40 first pitch. Meanwhile, the Cardinals back in action. They're on the West Coast. Lance Lynn takes on the best of our generation and Clayton Kershaw for a 9:10 first pitch. You can hear it here loud and clear on ESPN Radio 93.5. Before the game, the Cardinals called up Tyler Lyons, and they sent down Sam Tuivavala. NBA, the Warriors rolled the Spurs 129-115 in Game 4. They sweep their way to the NBA Finals, become the first NBA team to start a postseason 12-0. They'll await the winner in the East. The Celtics look to tie up the Cavs tonight in Game 4 in Cleveland for a 7:30 tip-off. Boston, a 14.5-point underdog. NHL, the Predators advance to their, bubble throw.
Bubble throw, it happens.
Their first Stanley Cup final with a 6-3 Game 6 win over the Ducks. Tonight, the Penguins can clinch their second straight Eastern Conference title for a Game 6 win over Ottawa. Should we call it the Now Fun League?
I missed my chance. I'm sorry. Whoa, overtime.
The Now Fun League? The NFL will now allow group celebrations and celebrations that include using the ball as a prop. The league will still disallow offensive gestures. That includes prolonged acts, miming weapons, and sexually suggestive acts. NFL also reduced regular season overtime from 15 minutes to a maximum of 10 minutes. That'll make a big change in the game.
Jeremy's sarcasm will get you nowhere. So I've been told. Now, this one from Busey, I think I need to be listening to this. The money talk with your spouse.
It's important.
If you find it difficult to talk about money, you're not alone. Many married or committed couples struggle to have the money talk. According to a study by Fortune, more than 40% don't know how much their partner earns, 43% incorrectly quote their partner's income, and 10% miss the mark by $25,000 or more. I think those 10% might just be a little slow, but that's okay. Busey suggests asking these questions to understand and prepare for your financial future together. For one, what are your spending habits? Find out if your partner is a saver or a spender. How and how much do they use their money? Are you an impulsive spender or do you prefer to shop around? Do you donate to charities, joint or separate bank accounts? Know if your partner treats money as, quote, ours. What are your financial goals and priorities? Busey can provide an array of solutions tailored to you and your partner's needs. Keep and manage all of your accountants in one place with 5 lines of business: personal, mortgage, commercial, cash management, and wealth management. No matter the stage in your life, Busey will be there along the way. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of their convenient locations for solutions to your personal, business, and wealth management needs. Member FDIC.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. He's Mike Carpenter filling in for Lon Tay. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. We talked with Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review, and Chris Emma, 670thescore.com. We will have a draft in the next segment.
I like this idea.
And we threw around some different ideas. It is a slower time in sports. But we threw around this, that I threw out just meat draft. Just select the best meats.
Which would work.
4 or 5 round meat draft.
It would totally work.
But it gets a little complicated because there are so many different versions of meat, right? Like chicken. Can you just select fried chicken and can't put chicken tenders, chicken wings, all that stuff in there?
Does fried chicken knock out chicken tenders? Is one of them.
Does a hamburger, is that different than a cheeseburger or a bacon cheeseburger or a
Angus burger,
Hawaiian burger, or all those different kind of things?
You mean that Hawaiian burger joint? Big Kahuna burger?
Portillo's open today. So that's what got us talking about meat a little bit, but it's also Memorial Day weekend. And Carp, I think you eventually got around to this, that we should do like a barbecue draft where we draft 5 things. And we aren't going to limit ourselves to, you got to draft 1 meat, 1 side, 1 drink, whatever it is. We're going to have 5 rounds. You draft 5 things that you want at your barbecue, your Memorial Day barbecue.
I like this draft. My initial idea, and I'm glad that we talked about how to improve it, was, well, the first round is just meat, and the second round is just sides. And then it's like, well, wait a second. What if part of the strategy is you think, wait, I think coleslaw is going to go early, so I'm going to sneak in the first round, grab my side right now.
Yeah.
So all five of us.
Or I'm going to get soda right away. Right?
So we're going to have all five of us here. We got a full house of interns. We have David Morrow, Nathan DeHaan, and we also have Harry Black, of course, who will be joining Jeremy and I. And we will be picking 5 rounds for the ideal spread, basically, at a cookout.
The strategy is very, very interesting here.
Are there a couple of items that you've kind of jotted down in your mind that if this is there in the third, fourth round,
yes,
I'm just jumping on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think there could be some steals in the third or fourth round.
I think it's going to be really fun to see in the first or second rounds which completely out of left field thing. It's not all going to be hot dogs and hamburgers. Something random is going to pop up early.
I did want to mention this. You can join this station for our first ever station trip to a Wrigley Field rooftop for Cubs baseball. Yeah, that's right. You'll enjoy a private Illinois charter motor coach to the Wrigleyville area. Then you'll arrive at our Wrigley Field rooftop where food and fun awaits. You'll enjoy a great view of the game with the Tampa Bay Rays and Kevin Kiermaier, Parkland guy, and enjoy all you care to eat and drink included. Some of the food included sirloin steaks, chicken breast sandwiches, Chicago-style hot dogs, beef sandwiches, grilled brats, cheeseburgers. If you've ever been to one of these, you don't even hardly watch the game because of all the food, and they have the greatest selection of beer. Includes Goose Island 312, one of my favorites, Bell's Oberon, Brooklyn Summer Ale, Founders, Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, Kugels, Pepsi soft drinks, bottled water, all of that, and wine. They have wine there as well. It's just a great time at the park. If you've never been to a rooftop game, this is a great opportunity to go. You can buy tickets and get more info at ESPNCU.com. Have you ever done a rooftop?
I've not done rooftop, but I've heard pretty good things about it. And it's this sort of all-inclusive deal.
If
so you go there, all the food and drink are included.
You get all the food, all the drink, and you can watch a little bit of the game. But honestly, if you just want to go up there, enjoy the Wrigley Field atmosphere, see the game a little bit, and be around that, it is a great deal, and it's a lot of fun.
And that's July 5th. That's a day game. So if you want to just take one extra day off of the 4th of July, I mean, who wants to go back to work on the 5th? So that's a nice, easy thing. And please beat the Rays. I'm so done with their pesky annoyance.
I saw you tweeting this out. Like you wanted to bring back the contraction talk in Major League Baseball.
And I will say this: I retracted San Diego from the list. I did not realize they had such a strong following.
Great ballpark,
and that as well. But it would be for me Tampa Bay, Arizona, Miami.
So you're taking away the newest expansion teams. Are you taking away Colorado too, or
no? Colorado's fine. Coors Field is supposedly pretty cool, and Denver's a great city.
Right.
There was one other there, but for me, it's just Tampa Bay, and I know I get them 18, 19 times a year in that division. Evan Longoria bats .850 against the Yankees, and it would be .900 if it wasn't for Aaron Judge on Sunday.
I am not going to feel sorry for the Yankees having to play the Tampa Bay Rays every year.
Yeah, well, it should be a benefit to the Yankees, but it just seems like
it is. I mean, because their payroll is so small, their fan base is so small, that park is so bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad. It's kind of fun. Like you go there, and that park is just so pitiful,
and that's the
it's
thing.
Kind of fun.
I've only been to a dome baseball game once, and it was the Metrodome, and it was '99, I think. So I saw Andy Pettitte and the Yankees up there. Yankees won. That was cool. But the Metrodome was the most sterile environment that I've ever seen in any sporting event, to be honest. And it wasn't at that so bad it's good phase because there was nothing there except basically a hefty bag for a roof, and that was about it.
What was baseball thinking back then? You know, because like Olympic Stadium in Montreal was a dome, the King Dome. You know, all and these just gigantic. I mean, Comiskey Park originally, the new one, just gigantic. Like they almost felt like they needed to get these huge parks. When what is great about baseball is kind of almost the intimacy, like and now that's where all the parks are going. Camden Yards kind of turned that around.
You know what might have actually started it? If you look at the new Comiskey Park, excuse me, when that opened in '91 or whatever, it was really like a miniature Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
blue seats, seems sort of
white.
And if you take away Monument Park and just the general history of Yankee Stadium, go to a Yankee Stadium game in '85.
Yeah.
It would have been sterile. I mean, that was not a great ballpark after it was renovated. So maybe that was what kind of influenced this sort of, functionality, cram as many people in the seats as you can. And then Camden Yards came around, and that started this renaissance.
Well, you're not going to get contraction. You're probably going to get expansion.
Oh, yeah. Well.
I would imagine is way more likely to expand than ever to contract. And I would imagine Montreal will be a part of that.
That'd be cool.
And Las Vegas.
A Vegas baseball team.
Yeah. It'd be indoors. It'd be like Miller Park or something like that. But I do think just because Chris Bryant's from there, Harper's from there, Maddox is from there, and that's
Greg Maddox is from Las Vegas.
That's a growing market. And it'll be interesting to see how the NHL and NFL do there. I think the NFL will do great there, but it'll be interesting to see how they do there because that's a baseball town.
Are we currently at 30 teams, 5 per division?
30, yeah.
Okay. So if we add another 2, 32 sounds reasonable.
And I think you'd have 4-team divisions maybe, and then you'd have maybe expand the playoffs.
So is Tampa Bay in no danger then? I guess not.
I think they might move. I think that's a possibility if they don't get the park they want.
Yeah.
And Montreal would probably be atop that list, and that would fit,
it would.
In the AL East. So I don't think you're going to get your contraction.
Nah, that's fine.
Happening.
It was just Evan Longoria had another RBI double, and I'm just kind of, that guy, if you look at his numbers, I do wonder, are we just going to look back on him as a really good player? Or is it, if you were to have put him in a different city, are we considering Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay.
I'm looking up Evan Longoria's stats. Career 270 hitter, 343 on base, 487 slug. There were years where he was one of the best players in baseball. He's kind of slid off a little bit. The average has gone way down. 247 home runs. 3-time All-Star. He's not quite at that level. You will see an all-time great tonight if you're a Cardinals fan, going against Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
So a good opportunity if you don't get to see a lot of him. And the Cardinals have been a pest. It's Clayton Kershaw, especially in the playoffs. But will you remember watching? I know you're a Yankees fan, so you don't get to see these teams play a lot. But will you remember watching Kershaw more or Trout more?
Kershaw, because he makes the playoffs. I mean, I hardly ever see Trout except for a highlight here and there. To me, Mike Trout is almost like this sort of mythical baseball phenom that you don't see. It's like that Sports Illustrated story. There was a hoax, right? About the greatest baseball phenom ever. He was
Sid Finch.
Yeah, right. He's basically like a living Sid Finch in my mind because I don't watch him. I mean, yes, there's opportunities. I could force myself to watch MLB tonight, make sure to stay up late to watch those at-bats, or even just watch
one the other night.
Yeah, or even just watch the highlights because he is an all-timer already.
He's probably having one of the best seasons he's ever had. He's 25, 26?
Yeah. I really wish for the game of baseball that he would be able to go to another team.
Yeah.
Because the Angels right now are stuck in neutral.
It's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen because the Angels are okay with being Mike Trout. Right? It's not the Los Angeles Angels. It's the Los Angeles Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And I think they're fine with that because they want to have that be part of their history. They don't want to trade him and get a bunch of prospects and maybe you win, but they want to keep him and have that be the face of their franchise forever. I think that's what they want to do.
He has an extension through at least for another
2020, 2021, something like that. So it's not like Harper who's going to be free agent in a couple of years or Machado.
I mean, we talk about Harper being potentially a $400 million man. Imagine Trout on that open market.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm the Yankees, I would spare no expense.
We were just talking about how Sid Crosby's younger than us. Clayton Kershaw is younger than us.
That's weird.
29 years old.
That's weird.
2.36 career ERA, 133 and 62. He's got 1,980 strikeouts and 1,822 innings. Would you take him at his peak, which is right now, or Pedro at his peak?
I hate to do the whole gamer thing. Yeah. Pedro was a gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, when it came to the biggest matchups, he was an absolute stud. So, and what's sad for him is, yes, he got his ring in 2004, but he was not 2000 Pedro.
Would you take Kershaw or Bumgarner? I'm still taking Kershaw. I know Bumgarner's had playoff appearances.
I think you do. So was the idea that if you're taking one pitcher for 1 year and you're trying to win a World Series, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kershaw more easily gets you there.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. For me, Bumgarner, and this is crazy to say for a guy that had the postseason that he did, and really the postseason numbers even just outside of that 1 year. But
probably the greatest postseason pitcher ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Bob Gibson's thrown in there. Jack Morris is thrown in there.
Yeah, but the Pedro thing, just mentioning his name and thinking back to like 99, 2000. I mean, the All-Star game that they had at Fenway Park, I think he struck out the first 5 of the first 6 batters he faced. in electrifying fashion.
Yeah.
And whenever he was up, whatever game that would be, didn't matter if it was Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park. If it was Pedro, you hope to scratch out one run, and get him out in 7.
Okay, Kershaw's had some postseason struggles,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's been, he's had a lot of great appearances too. People remember the 3 or 4 bad appearances. Greg Maddux wasn't a great postseason pitcher.
No.
Taking Kershaw or Maddux?
I would take. I'd take Kershaw. I'd take Kershaw.
He's got the more electric stuff. It's just Maddux was such a pitcher.
I'd take Smoltz in his prime. Actually,
Johnson or Kershaw?
Randy Johnson in his prime. Randy Johnson.
And Randy's prime went to what, 41? 42?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, he was
The Diamondbacks years were unbelievable.
36, I think, when the Diamondbacks won it.
Yeah, his 4 years or whatever it was with the Diamondbacks were ridiculous.
I remember the trade of him to Houston, right? He was with Houston for half a year. Completely dominant when he was down there, too. But I would go Randy Johnson. The two guys in that era, Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez.
Well, Clemens in there.
Clemens. Yeah, true. But the thing about Clemens is he kind of settled into this 3.5 ERA, good for 20 wins a year because of the teams he was on.
Yeah.
There was never there were few times that Clemens, he had one complete game shutout, I think a 2-hitter against the Mariners in the playoffs. Other than that, it was more of a 6 innings, 2 to 3 earned runs.
He only won 1 with the Yankees, or he won 2?
He won
was there in 2000?
He won it in was he there in 99? I think he was only in 2000 because they traded Wells straight up for Roger Clemens, which, I mean, Wells was great at that time, but that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Kershaw's similarity scores on Baseball Reference through age 28. Pedro, Roger Clemens.
All right.
2 top ones. It's pretty good company.
Yeah. Pretty good
company.
So we're going to take a quick break and come back with a draft that we are very excited about. Memorial Day coming up next Monday, 6 days from now. So we figured, why not have a cookout draft? We're going to include all the interns on this, 5 of us, 5 rounds. That's going to be 25 picks of the best barbecue food, side dishes, and drinks. We'll do it next. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hey Cardinals fans, have you thought about making a trip to St. Louis with your family? Well, the perfect time to do it is coming up, the weekend of June 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's the Ritz Kickoff to Summer Weekend, and it's loaded with great promotions. Friday, June 9th, it's the Orlando Cepeda Bobblehead, presented by AAA Missouri. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home the bobblehead of the 1967 MVP. Saturday, June 10th, the adult all-over print shirt. It's a full-button shirt that celebrates being a fan of the Cardinals. You can wear it with pride. Sunday, June 11th, all kids 15 and younger receive the Rawlings Kids Baseball Glove. That day's also a Six Flags Day and a Family Attractions card giveaway. It's the weekend of June 9th, 10th, and 11th. The Cardinals take on the Phillies. Great giveaways for you. Make the trip to Busch Stadium. Tickets available at cardinals.com/promotions. There's only one Cardinals baseball.
Dough is the original calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original calzone company.
Our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month, brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, our Law Enforcement Official of the Month from Stevie J Broadcasting is Officer Dan Ward, Senior Patrol Officer, Champaign Police. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for what you do. You're also wonderful. I just can't get over it. Why does Dan Ward love what he does?
That's a good question, and it's a complicated question. I think the simplest thing is, no matter what, you get to go out there and you either get to help people, which is great, and it happens every day at least, usually if you try, or at the worst, you get to help somebody through the worst day of their life. And both those things are good, and both those things have their place, and you're ultimately serving. So
our Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month is Dan Ward, Senior Patrol Officer for the Champaign Police Department, brought to you by F.E. Moran Security Solutions. It's our trip to Wrigley Field, Chicago. We're going to be in the rooftops, and you can come. We'll travel via motor coach to Chicago to the Wrigley Field rooftop in left field. See the Cubs take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 1:20. Rooftop tickets, motor coach, and parking to Chicago, only $199 each. These tickets will sell quickly. All your food and beverages included. Just come by our studios to pay by check. 2702 South Boulder in Urbana, or for complete details and the pay online, visit us at espncu.com. espncu.com.
From buyers and sellers inspections before the sale, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. We also provide radon testing with results back in 48 hours. From Champaign to Savoy and Gifford to Gibson City, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. Get more details and schedule your inspection today at aamarshall.net.
The Bloomington Edge indoor football team has clinched a playoff spot, and they could be playing for a conference championship. Keep listening for more information, and don't miss their next game Friday at 7 at the Coliseum in Bloomington. The Edge take on the Western Michigan Ironmen. This Friday is Survivors Night, benefiting the American Cancer Society, and Boy Scouts and Pony baseball players coming in their uniform get complimentary admission. Buy tickets today at bloomingtonedge.net or 484-840-EDGE and ask about YMCA member discounts.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
At the end of each May, people gather together in the backyards and garages of America, looking to eat and drink with their friends and loved ones. Now it's time on the Tay and J Show to pick your favorite food and drink for the first annual Cookout Draft.
Thank you, Cart. It's a nice introduction for the barbecue draft, cookout draft.
Yeah, whichever.
We just drew names from the Illini St. Louis hat that was donated this week.
Look at that.
To the Tay and J Show. And intern David Morrow gets the number one pick in the barbecue cookout draft. And basically, you pick whatever you want to make up a good barbecue draft. I think we should draft, you got to have a liquid. But I guess you can not draft a liquid and everybody goes thirsty and struggles to scarf down their food.
If you omit something big, you will, and we're going to take a picture of these picks and we'll send it out to the Twitterverse and the Facebook universe, and they can comment and vote on who they think was the best one.
So David Morrow gets the number one overall pick in the cookout draft. David, what is your selection?
I'm going with beer.
Wow. That's a strong pick.
That is a strong.
That is the Peyton Manning.
That really is.
Good pick, David. All right.
And that is David's introduction to the Tay and J listening
start.
best.
I didn't get the number one pick. I'm
That's
like,
all you need to know
dang
about.
it. Were we all picking beer one?
Oh,
One,
sorry, Harry.
But I had it in my probably third round.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a strong start.
I was taking it one. Harry, you're up. Number two.
This isn't a surprise. I'm going hot dogs.
All right.
Easy
Tried and true.
pick.
Tried and true.
I think it's an okay pick. I think that's like picking a safety second.
Come on.
Cart?
Even though I don't eat red meat, I'm going to go with hamburgers. Tried and true.
Solid.
Harry took the hot dogs. I think hamburgers are a nice base to my soon-to-be strong cookout team.
I have to ask a technicality. Are cheeseburgers available?
Hamburgers, I think, knock that out as well. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want to with your hamburger.
Okay. Nathan, Dahan, you're up with the fourth pick.
I'm going to go with bratwurst.
Oh!
Better hot dog. Good pick.
I thought that was going to be there in the second round. Oh.
Well, now, I mean, the entrees are starting to get picked over pretty quick.
Well, beer was the only thing I would have taken over entrees. And I'm going to go back-to-back entrees.
Wow.
I'm going steak.
I think I know what the next one's going to be.
And then I'm going fried chicken. The meat
pick.
combo right
That's a good
there.
pick.
Man, I wanted brat, but I'll take those two. Nathan, you're up.
I'm gonna go soda. I think soda is essential at a cookout.
That's good. And that's a strong pick because that's a versatile pick with many different kinds of flavors and varieties.
Yeah. Carp, you're up.
Okay, I will go with corn on the cob.
Nah, that's a good side.
Yeah.
That's the number one side.
And it's not, again, necessarily my favorite, but it's always a crowd pleaser. And I figured that was going to be taken before my next choice.
Harry?
I'm showing my athletic side. I'm going Gatorade.
That's good to hydrate on a hot summer's day.
Little early.
A little early
I
for
think you could've
Gatorade.
gotten Gatorade
I think you could have
earlier.
gotten the 5th round.
You guys are going to be upset when you forget to pick water, and then you're stuck with nothing, and it's broiling outside.
Don't worry, I have my drink
Well,
already selected.
David already has beer, so he doesn't need a drink.
No need for hydration.
What you got, David?
I'm going ribs.
That's a good pick. I considered that.
That's really good.
I considered it. All right, you got another pick right here, David.
Ooh, that's right. Ooh. I'm going to double down on meats and go grilled chicken.
Good call. Ribs and chicken. See, I want to go to his cookout, not mine.
It's because you're too healthy.
Yeah.
Harry, your third pick.
Hot wings. I'm not having a great draft, am I?
No, that's fine. So, wait, what is Harry's team?
These are all good things.
Yeah, everything.
Hot dogs, Gatorade, and hot wings. We like meat.
Yeah, okay.
We're men.
I have hamburgers, corn on the cob. For my pick, I'm going to go potato chips.
Oh, okay. Wait, which kind?
Well, just standard potato chips.
So like Lay's?
Yeah, Lay's.
Okay.
Yeah. Just standard potato chips. That's all you need. Now, does that include the flavored varieties, or would someone have to specify that?
You have to. You just took.
Specify with chips.
Do I get the
Potato
Lay's brand of chips? The family of chips.
No, you get just Lay's normal potato chips. The normal.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Average potato chips.
I like it.
Nathan?
I'm going to double up on my meat, and I'm going to get some pulled pork at my cookout.
I was thinking about that. It's a good pick.
Are Sloppy Joe's pulled pork?
They're like shredded beef, right? Kind of,
Some
or
kind of mystery
It's ground
meat.
beef, I think, for Sloppy Joe. Yeah.
I'm tripling down.
Wow.
Polish sausage.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, what are your meats?
Steak, fried chicken, Polish sausage.
Got the whole variety.
That's right.
You realize the people at your cookout aren't going to be regular for a week.
I'll tell you
So,
what.
is pick 4 going to be roughage? Let's find out.
Number 4, I'm going to go with a salad, a potato salad.
Oh, man, they are not going to be regular for a month. Good God. Starch and meat at Jeremy's cookout.
So I got steak, fried chicken, Polish sausage, and potato salad. Nathan, your 4th round pick.
I'm going to go barbecue chips. You already took the potato chips from me. I'm going to go barbecue chips.
All
Pair
right.
with the pulled pork.
That's fine. That's good. That's a good choice.
Carp, you're up.
I'm going to go with baked beans.
Baked?
That didn't seem to get a reaction. Is no one really into baked
That's
beans?
lame.
Oh, baked beans are great.
Who goes to a barbecue and goes, man, I hope they have baked beans.
My
I
goodness,
do.
I will not be happy unless they
personal
have
fan.
baked beans.
Thank you, Harry.
Barbecue classic.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah.
You don't remember all baked beans are the same.
Yes. But I want that to offset the bread and meat they're going to eat. Unlike your cookout where I'm going to be...
Meat and mayonnaise.
I could imagine someone leaving a cookout and just saying, I loved everything about that place, but I wish they had some baked beans.
Yeah. But there was just no fiber in the selection there. I'm going to...
You're thinking too much. Harry,
backed up.
your 4th round pick.
I'm looking at your selection, and I kind of want to just ruin whatever you're... Because I know you're going drink. You have to go drink with your 5th pick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say bottled water.
So 2 drinks. Bold call.
He has water, Gator... What?
Hydration right there.
What's his...
Gatorade, bottled water, hot wings, and hot dogs.
It's a fun time at the Harry Black cookout.
I like how you used a pick to block me.
Your cookout sounds like the cookout for soccer children on Saturday after their doubleheader.
Get some mac and cheese with
All
that
right.
hot dog. David, your
All right.
fourth. Your 4th.
I
and
need a
5th round.
ruling. Is chips and salsa 1 or 2?
I think we can combine
Yeah,
that.
you're good.
I think that's fair.
That's a solid pick.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go chips and salsa.
And then the 5th and final pick. We'll recap David's team after that.
My last pick will be mac and cheese.
All right. Wow. I'm kind of surprised that it stuck around that long.
So beer, ribs, grilled chicken, chips and salsa, mac and cheese. I think we got a winner already.
That's really good. That is really good.
First pick, man. That's just...
Yep.
Harry, you're up. You need a side, man.
I do need a side. I wanted to go watermelon, but I can't. So I'm going to go salt and vinegar chips. That's not really a side, is it?
Yeah,
That's
sure
a
it is.
side,
It's just
sure.
chips.
Salt and vinegar chips, you're good. Cart, you need something to drink.
grain alcohol. No, in all seriousness, just a big vat of jungle juice. Let's do it. I haven't had it in 10 years, but we'll bust it out. We'll Gem Clear and Kool-Aid.
Nathan?
In my cookout.
I'm going to go coleslaw. Nice classic to end it.
That's a good choice.
I think I'm going to end this one pretty strong. I'm going lemonade.
That's a good choice. Yeah.
I feel good. I feel great about my draft. I mean, I didn't beat David. David is the winner here. He has beer, ribs, grilled chicken, chips and salsa, mac and cheese.
That's really good.
Satisfied with my team.
Yeah.
That is an adult barbecue.
Yeah, that even kids can enjoy because kids eat macaroni and cheese.
Now, Harry went with the 12-year-old draft, which was
hot dogs, Gatorade, hot wings, bottled water, and salt and vinegar chips.
That's good after a soccer match.
Yeah, sure.
Get some orange slices in there, feeling good.
Let's see.
None of us picked a dessert, by the way.
That's true. I went with what? Hamburgers. What was my second round?
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. That's a strong start, right?
Solid.
Potato chips.
Yeah,
that's good.
You have an All-American, except for
baked beans and jungle juice.
That's a good team.
If you went lemonade, you would have threatened David.
Maybe so, but I figured let's just have a little fun at the cookout. And jungle juice always ends up in a good time.
That's a great idea.
You must be 18 or older to attend Michael Carpenter's cookout.
I think Nathan had a solid draft as well. Brat, soda, pulled pork, barbecue chips, and coleslaw.
That's good.
He played it safe with coleslaw at the end.
I love coleslaw.
I feel like I checked all the boxes, covered all the bases.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a good time.
I'll
it might
have a
not
good
be
time.
the A1, but
Yeah, I'll have a good time at yours.
Yeah.
Just won't be drunk. I took steak, fried chicken, Polish sausage,
God,
potato salad,
excessive.
and lemonade. I have the 4,000 calorie.
That's okay. It's the Nick Smith barbecue. The 4,000 calorie. Mike Tisdale barbecue. Yeah. I think that was a pretty job well done, everybody.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So maybe we'll have people vote on which barbecue they want.
Yeah,
to
we'll
go
take
to.
it. We'll take a picture and we'll send that up on Twitter.
I think
and
it's David.
Yeah, I think David's the runaway.
He's got beer.
David, any final thoughts about your strong draft?
I'm proud of my team.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna work hard. We're gonna get a championship this next season.
Okay, cool.
I'd like to thank the organization. This wasn't about one man.
And Harry, would you like to reflect on what the hell just happened?
Mike Mayock just gave you an F on your draft.
If I can get one vote on Twitter, I'll be satisfied. I'm looking back at this, and I'm not very happy with what I put out there.
Why did you take bottled water?
Because he was trying to keep you from getting bottled water.
I'm looking at these
wasn't
as
even
if
on my board.
I'm looking at this like I'm going to a Timmy B cookout, who has Gatorade and bottled water, and they're the essentials.
You needed to take beans, though, because then you would add beans and weenies.
Every Thursday night to cook you lasagna. So I'll be eating lasagna for 13 straight weeks.
Timmy B. Oh, man. Listen. Hey, thanks, boys. That was fun.
Yeah, well done, everybody.
What a barbecue draft. Hopefully you guys have a good Memorial Day weekend. We'll still be back for more shows.
Well, yeah, we got 3 more shows. We could have done this on Friday, but it worked today because it is a somewhat slow time for sports news. Let's be
thanks
honest.
to our guests today, Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald and Review, also Chris Emma, 670 to the score. Thanks to our interns today, Harry, David, and Nathan. If you missed any of the show, get the podcast at espncu.com or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Thanks, Carp, for filling in for Lante. Hopefully he's back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the shoulder's feeling a little bit better. We have 20 seconds here. Any final thoughts?
I want to go to David's barbecue.
I know, I do too. I think we actually. I think it's only fair that the interns actually throw us a barbecue.
No, Carp, I think yours could be fun.
Really?
It's got jungle juice. Right? We're going to get drunk real quick.
I thought that was a strong final pick. We will see you tomorrow. Maybe not me. Hopefully Lon's back and feeling a lot better. It is the Tay and J Show. Going on 5 years, Rock's Place in St. Joseph has become the neighborhood sports bar and grill for a lot of folks in the area. Rock's Place is known for their delicious burgers, and they also have great daily food and drink specials. Plus, Rock's has plenty of TVs, so you can keep tabs on the Cubs and Cardinals all summer long. And while you're there, press your luck on one of Melody Music's video gaming machines. For delicious food, cold drinks, and good company, make it Rock's Place, 101 North Main Street in St. Joseph. Find them on Facebook, ROCHS in St. Joseph.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals. A nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the I-Hotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Your four-legged friends need protection too. Pet insurance from Pekin Insurance covers cats and dogs at least 6 weeks of age or older as an enhancement to your homeowner's coverage. Choose between $2,500 or $5,000 worth of coverage for a variety of pet health services. You can even take your pet to the veterinarian of your choice. Learn more at PekinInsurance.com or ask your local agent about how to protect your furry family members. For pet insurance that is beyond the expected, contact Pekin Insurance today.
What do you love about the greatest weekend in racing? The greatest drivers in racing? The greatest traditions in racing? The greatest party in racing? How about all of it? The greatest spectacle in racing starts Friday, May 26th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Miller Lite Carb Day and the Steve Miller Band. Then catch Firestone Legends Day on Saturday with Keith Urban. And on Sunday, May 28th, see the 101st running of the Indy 500 presented by Pengrade Motor Oil. Get your tickets now at Indy500.com.
Winning can be fun, and we love giving away free stuff, but we want to make sure it's fair for everyone. So here are the rules when competing to win on ESPN 93.5. No purchase necessary. Prize must be collected within 30 days during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 2702 Boulder in Urbana. ESPN Radio assumes no liability due to circumstances beyond our control, and any prize may be substituted with a prize of equal or greater value. Winners are liable for any taxes, tips, or other miscellaneous charges associated with the prize. All contestants must have a valid ID and social security number. Our judges' decisions are final and reserve the right to end any contest at any time for any reason without notice. In the event that a contestant is found to be ineligible for a prize, said prize will not be awarded. And if you win, we reserve the right to use your likeness or voice on the radio or online, and any winners must wait 30 days to win again. Get a complete list of rules and more information on any contest on ESPN Radio at ESPNCU.com. Those are the rules, and good luck from ESPN 93.5.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.